Welcome to the world of Street Fighter 3. Prepare for battle.
One box could leave you messed up and fractured. Block these uppercuts, they may leave you captured. May the best fighter win and win again. Battle to the top until his life ends. But if his life ends and he starts to decay, may one of his street soldiers avenge things. See you talking to the game, couldn't be talking to me. I got enough to beat and more soldiers to bury. You know it just clicked in and made you realize this game is twice as hard. You see that with your own eyes. You're on the way to choose your type of life cause you gotta. I tell you from now, which fighter will be the hotter. I don't think you want this one, just practice. Just challenge me when you're ready with your tactics. High punch, the spin kicks, watch your back split. I see you in the air when I make you back flip.
Get it on down. Select to make your first pick. Get it on down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Get it on down. Choose and pick the best one. Get it on down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get it on down. Select to make your first pick. Get it on down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Get it on down. Choose and pick the best one. Get it on down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get it on down. Select to make your first pick. Get it on down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Get it on down. Choose and pick the best one. Get it on down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get it on down. Select to make your first pick. Get it on down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Get it on down. Choose and pick the best one. Get it on down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
One box could leave you messed up and fractured. Block these uppercuts, they may leave you captured. May the best fighter win and win again. Battle to the top until his life ends. But if his life ends and he starts to decay, may one of his street soldiers avenge things.
See you talking to the game, couldn't be talking to me. I got enough to beat and more soldiers to bury. You know it just clicked in and made you realize this game is twice as hard. You see that with your own eyes.
You're on the way to choose your type of life cause you gotta. I tell you from now, which fighter will be the hotter. I don't think you want this one, just practice. Just challenge me when you're ready with your tactics. High punch, the spin kicks, watch your back split. I see you in the air when I make you back flip.
Get it on down. Select to make your first pick. Get it on down. 10, 9, 8.
Hey, what is up, internet? It is your boy GQ Asian Dude back with another episode of Gaming Academy. We are, I believe, class 65 now, 4 away from being nice. So good to see you guys. If you guys are coming back here every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If it's your first time here, welcome. Appreciate you as always. You're in for a good treat. If you're here to learn, you're here to apply good things in life with gaming, you came to the right place. But of course, tonight I don't do this, alone. I have friends here, I have faculty here, I have the great ideas that we get from this show comes from all facets of my life and my gaming community. So let's get going. You're in for a treat. Anyway, students, welcome back to Gamer Quotient Gaming Academy. Tonight is class session 65, and tonight we're continuing a conversation that's been shaping this classroom for a while now. Intention, awareness, and what mastery really looks like in gaming. Now, as your headmaster, GQ Asian Dude, Gamer Quotient Asian Dude, joined tonight by the faculty, of course, Blazing Ace Nelson and Oliver. No Nick tonight, unfortunately, but that's okay. He's doing his very dutiful duties as daddy. Even with a lighter roster, we got a strong lesson to plan on deck. Now, we'll kick things off this week in gaming history with Memory Card Chronicles, as always, covering February 8th through February 14th, revisiting the moments and releases that help shape how we play today. Now, from there, we'll dig into the design philosophy, systems, and the ideas that live beneath the surface of the games we love as well. And of course, when class comes to a close, we'll face tonight's final boss. Mastery isn't about time played. A reminder that growth isn't measured in hours logged, but in understanding earned. Now, before we jump into history books, though, I want to take a moment to talk about why Gamer Quotient exists, the whole thing with GQ, and what is this academy really is here to teach. So grab your notebooks, grab your controllers, class is in session. I'm going to let the faculty in here with me, and let's rock and roll. Gentlemen, introduce yourselves. Who are you? What are you doing here?
Howdy, everybody. I'm sure you all recognize the cap and the hoodie by this point, but for those of you meeting me for the first time, I'm the man they call Blazing Ace Nelson. I am I call myself the shift manager at Brawl Mart, but I am also the, guess you could call me the phys ed instructor, the man that helps you out with the pad work and the lab work with the tech.
Oof, that was smooth.
So if you want applied knowledge and statistics, look no further.
There you go.
And I'm the newest member of the roster. I would say, excuse me. Let me go back. I'm the newest member of the faculty
There you go.
and instructor at this school. I'm mostly known as being a game historian. I've been gaming for so long. I just came off my 44th birthday back in December, so I can officially say I've been playing video games nonstop for 40 years, and there's a lot of actual nonsense that I know, completely useless knowledge in any other sense except for this one. But if we come up with something, there's usually a nugget or a little piece of information or trivia that I happen to know about it, or just an interesting tidbit. So I always have those in the back pocket, and I love to share them with people. And I also help Ace with the tech sometimes because we have a lot of crossover. In fact, as we go over Memory Card Chronicles, there's going to be a game that's going to come up that's defining between he and I that I've just never talked about. So he's going to hear it for the first time too.
Sweet.
Can't wait to get there.
Sweet. Awesome, guys. Now, ever since last week and the show ended, I was kind of like, you know what? I feel like the audience doesn't know our backstory or not enough of it. So we're starting an arc here, and we're starting off with Gamer Quotient's mission statement, why we do things the way we do it, and why I built this and brought the best and brightest talent on the internet to come on this show, right? Ultimately, this next slide will basically show you why. So hang tight. Let me get this popped in here. And if you've been wondering why Gamer Quotient exists and what is GQ, I actually had this infographic intended to be posted right around noon today, and for some reason it didn't happen on X. It happened on Facebook, and I was like, wow, I must have been really sleepy because I don't. But I wanted to share this infographic with everybody here on the show and kind of like our audience. What is your GQ, right? What is GQ? So a lot of the times, I think historically GQ has been kind of taken over by Gentleman's Quarterly magazine, right? You got the magazine where you dress up, look sharp in suits. But I wanted to hijack that with and use it in the term of IQ, intelligence quotient, but in our case, gamer quotient, right? So it says right here, GQ is a way of understanding how you engage with games, not how good you are at them, right? What does that reflect? How you intentionally play, how well you understand game systems, and the guys on this faculty right now know game systems. I'm telling you, and how you manage your time and energy, right? How you learn from challenges and failure, and how gaming influences your mindset beyond the screen. Now, if IQ measures how you think, then GQ measures how you game and what it teaches you, right? This all stemmed from one question I received when I was a kid. Video games are a waste of your time. Why are you playing them? Right? And I took that personally.
Deeply so.
Three of us.
Yeah, I took that person. I took that 20 years at heart, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna show them, what gaming has taught me, and I want to share it with the rest of the world because I have a feeling that I'm not the only one that shares this sentiment about gaming. So tonight, I want to take a moment to talk to you guys about why Gamer Quotient exists, why we built the Gaming Academy in the first place. So entertain me here for a second. A lot of us grew up hearing the same thing, right? Video games are a waste of time. They don't teach you anything, and that they don't help you grow, and eventually you'll have to grow out of them. My dad says that to me all the time. Are you still gaming? Why are you still gaming? You're an adult, right? But anyone who spent real time with games knows that's not true. Games teach us how to level up through effort, how to grind when things don't come easy, how to fail, adapt, and try again, right? They teach patience, problem solving, strategy, and resilience. Skills we use every day in life, even in work, right? Whether we realize it or not, we're using gaming terminology, gaming philosophies and systems every day. Heck, they cop term gamification, right? You use the term grinding at work, leveling up in life, right? Stuff like that. That is all gaming terms, right? Gamer Quotient was created to prove that gaming isn't just entertainment, it's a toolkit, a way to understand growth, challenge, and progress in a language we already speak, gaming, right? And the Gaming Academy exists to put that idea into practice. Now, every segment, every discussion, every lesson here is about talking what games or taking what games teach us and applying it beyond a screen into our mindset, our habits, and our daily lives. Okay. We're not here to tell you what to play. Maybe some of us are. Maybe I am too. We're here to help you understand how you play and why that matters. So, whether you're here for nostalgia, mechanics, history, or philosophy, we here at Gamer Quotient welcome you. So, ask yourself this question: what is your GQ? And when we say GQ, Gamer Quotient, we're not talking about skill or playtime. GQ is about how you engage with games, how intentional you are with the games, how you learn, adapt, and carry those lessons into real life. It's not about being better than somebody else. I'm a fighting game player. You know what that's all about. But it's all about the journey and training and leveling up and understanding why you lost and why you had fun. It's about understanding how gaming makes you better, right? All right. I want to hear from the panel. Would love to hear chat. Just pop it in there. What does GQ mean to you, etc.? Because I feel like we all come from different portions of life and different portions of gaming. What is GQ to you guys?
Well, for me, honestly, again, it's not just taking what you know about a specific game or about gaming period. It's taking that, it's finding ways to apply it, finding ways to take what you've learned from the challenges that you've faced in the different games that you've played, and finding those parallels, because no matter what the game, no matter what the situation, there's always going to be something. I mean, that's part of the reason why we have so many games that we have grown to love over these decades, because they speak to us about what we have gone through or what we are going through on a level that not very many others in our lives at that point have actually been able to understand or really verbalize, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I mean, it's, again, like you said, it's another toolkit. It's another avenue for learning, another avenue for growth, another avenue for evolution.
I think and I want to hear what Oliver has to say, but when we're told stories is when we're a kid, these mythologies, these bedtime stories. There's lessons in these stories, right? Gaming's no different. I always consider gaming as like an interactive book, depending on the game you're playing. RPGs clearly are an interactive book.
Yep.
A lot of games are about problem solving, right? No matter in what form or shape that takes, there's always a problem to solve and a goal to reach in some way or form. But yeah, that's kind of how I saw video games my whole life. Is just like there's a journey and there's an objective, and I loved it.
You know, I'm trying to think very carefully on how I want to answer. I want to be as concise as possible because, I mean, this is the whole thing that attracted me here in the first place, was that you guys were continuing on with what I started with Metro City Boys, and I think maybe some people missed kind of the point, right? But the gaming quotient, first and foremost, is a thing. It's a very very real thing. To understand how you're engaging with this and why, the manner of which you're doing it. Interesting little anecdote. Um, a common thing that we all think about is that people play, but almost every animal on this planet plays. They engage in silly behaviors and things like that, and it's part of our socializing. It's how we learn how to practice. All kinds of different behaviors. Particularly in predators, right? Like when you see a cat, pouncing on its toy. Well, it's kind of practicing for a real hunt. And video games are no different, not at all. Like we just don't oftentimes people don't sit down and take the time to think about what we're actually doing when we're playing. They just go, well, it's stupid, it's a waste of time. And anybody who says that couldn't be In fact, you can't just be wrong. You are the wrongest possible wrong that can be wronged, right? And I can disprove that in mere seconds, right? First and foremost, one of the reasons that Hideo Kojima, when he restarted Kojima Productions, he says from sapiens to ludens. As we know, Homo sapiens. Well, sapiens means uh, man thinking, right? The sapiens to be sapient, right? And obviously, Homo Homo. Everyone knows the bad version of that, but no, that actually means man. So in Death Stranding, the terrorist group are called the Homo Demons, which means madmen, right? But he continues on with that Latin structuring, and the Kojima Productions um, tagline, I guess it would be, from sapiens to ludens. And ludens is playing, man playing, right? He knows that we need to think and that we need to imagine and we need to play pretend, even when we're grown people, right? Because that helps us stretch our brains. This is part of the something called neuroplasticity, right? Your ability to change and form new ideas, right? And the more you reject things, the more rigid your brain's going to get, and you're not going to be able to flex in that regard. And so, anytime I ever heard someone say, "What any good thing can you possibly learn about video games?" I immediately jump to Super Mario Brothers and I say, "Well, that game is literally um, doing hostile terrain negotiation under a hyper compressed time limit." And they just stare at me. I'm like, that motherfucker's running and jumping. They tried to kill him, and he's got 5 minutes to get down wherever he's tried to get to. It is terrain negotiation. That is literally what it is. That is a skill, a real skill that, for people that don't know, you will learn in the military. You have to learn how to. Hostile terrain is just that. It's like, hard to pass terrain, dealing with, mudslides or craggy surfaces or going through marshes or swamps or anything. Navy SEALs are literally specialists in hostile terrain negotiation, right? And you have to do it under a crunch, right? They say you got 300 seconds in Super Mario Brothers. That ain't no 300 seconds, boy. You better move your ass. You don't have time. But that's a very simple game, and that's barely scratches the surface of all the things that you can pick up and learn. And one of my favorite things of all time, of what I've learned from games, is always something I just didn't know. I've talked about this before on my own streams, but there was so much world mythology and folklore that I did not know anything about because I grew up in an incredibly Christian household. So anything that was not about Jesus was just blasphemy. And the Persona series introduced me to all these concepts that I just didn't know anything about. Like, I was like, what is this? Who is this? Oh, the rest of the planet has their own belief structures, and instead of just my whatever I was being taught. And I took interest in it, and it helped me to understand people, to find the crossovers. I'm like, wow, a lot of these mythologies are actually really similar to one another. Oh, that's really interesting. We're so much more alike than we aren't, right? And I couldn't have gotten there without games, period. And I mean, we could go on this one for hours. It's like, not only did it teach me about things that I didn't know and help me discover new ideas, new passions that I would then follow up on, because it's like, next thing you know, I'm at the library. I'm going, no, I got to go read about this, right? I'm like, who the hell is Kushalane? Oh my God, this is the dopest thing I've ever heard, right? Like, I'm like, Gaelic mythology is nuts. Like, oh, and I've never would have learned about that if it hadn't been for games. So I think we should always encourage people to play games, to figure out what games they enjoy. You don't have to like every game. That's not required. Games, books, movies, you don't have to like every single one of them, but there's almost a guarantee that there's going to be something that's going to catch your eye and you're going to go, I kind of want to mess with this. This is interesting. Oh, that's a neat idea. Hell, I even for these days in 2026, I even settle for people who are like, I don't play games, but I love watching people play games on YouTube or watching Let's Plays because they think there's something interesting to see, right? And we do absorb that knowledge. That's something that Kojima was trying to get across with Metal Gear Solid 2 and Raiden. Who remembers what was up with Raiden?
Oh, with the virtual training, right?
Yes, sir. Right? He's a VR soldier. He did the bulk of his training in VR. Right? And Snake was like, yeah, it's no match for real field work. But the brain, and that's where we're really getting at here. The brain, given the correct stimuli, isn't really going to discern the difference. Right? You could sit down, take someone who has never held a gun, just as an example, in real life, make a VR, you know, simulation, right? Make a VR game and make it completely authentic, right? Sit down and they're using those controls and teach them how to use that particular firearm. They're going to be able to take that skill out into the real world to a gun range because their brain has still grokked the information. The brain has still absorbed the information of, oh, I understand how this gun works. I've used this, a simulated version of this, and they're going to get right in there. Now, I didn't say they're going to be a good shot. I said they're going to know how that particular gun works because
They're gonna
they've
they're
seen
gonna
it in
have
such
a
high
leg up.
detail. They're going to have a massive leg up compared to other people. So you're still gathering information, but you're doing it very differently in a very simulated way. And not all games should be taken seriously. Not all, just like movies, just like books. Hey, not everything is there for learning. Sometimes it's just there for a good goof, right? I mean, someone would argue with me on this, but I'm like, I don't think there's a huge takeaway from, say, uh, Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo. I mean, there's some block drops, right, and spatial recognition, but no, it's mostly just so you can see Ryu with a big ass head
Yep.
and being goofy. But there's a lot of games you can learn from, right? But there are some games that are just there to be silly and to just play and just have a good time, right? So always try to think about what you're learning, but don't think too hard on it.
There you go, guys. I'm telling you, this whole idea of gaming and taking lessons and from gaming and what it's taught us. Everybody would have their own lesson on this. Everybody can share something that they learned, with gaming and how they play, what they play, and how that makes their life enhances their life and enriches their life in a certain way. So it's amazing. So welcome to Gamer Quotient, guys. Let's get Gaming Academy going, and I'm ready to remember some of my favorite games back in the day because I'm a fossil. Let's get to a memory card Chronicles. All right, here we go. All right. So if it's your first time here, Memory Card Chronicles is the segment of the show where we cover basically a week of gaming of some of the games that we remember wholeheartedly dear to or close to our heart, or just something we want to share with you guys because it's fun, it's exciting, and informative, or just plain silly. So that's what we're here for. This week we're covering February 8th to February 14th, and I'll kick this bed off here. All right. And actually this is a good one to start with because I believe tonight launches the first campaign into the invasion of Cyberstan, which is the number one planet against the automatons, Helldivers 2. So I brought this
Yes.
game up last year and I'm bringing it up this year again. It's basically the 1 year anniversary of Helldivers, and yes, Helldivers 2 specifically. And we're going to war, baby. We're going right into the heart of the automaton territory. And there's propaganda posters everywhere on social media. Matter of fact, it seemed like this whole last week, the automatons had hijacked the Helldivers 2 Twitter page or X page and their Discord. And that was sowing a lot of discourse about the lies of the Helldivers, and they're like really just like a bunch of meanies, killing robots. So this game is hilarious and it's fun. I play this as a pick up and play every night. There's no commitment to it. I literally just like pick a planet and I go, they need my help here. I shall fight. Right. And why is this unique and why is this a memory? It's because it's one of the few games I can go back and say, I'm participating in a bigger picture and there's also another person on the other side of that screen, at the Helldivers, I know I call it high command. That's game mastering the whole campaign, which is insane, and I've never really seen that before in any other game. I would love to hear that if you guys have another game that's similar to that. But yeah, that is my choice for my this week in gaming history is Helldivers 2. So
It's definitely a big one. Again, because of just how much it feels like the game is actually bleeding over to you know into everyday discourse. And I'm not talking just, talking about the game, but I mean like various events in the game. And again, with the propaganda,
yep.
it's like a lot of what VR had initially tried to do back in the 90s, especially with shows like I'm about to blow your minds with this one, Bots Master.
I
Oh my
was just thinking about Bots Master yesterday. I'm not even kidding. I was like, yeah, boy, I'm Zip Zoolander. ZZ for short.
But
Laser time, boys. Let's
go.
Yeah. Get the 3D shades out. Yes,
and
sir.
the community response to this game is also
Oh,
amazing. Like I spent the last couple days going back into I just going into like YouTube and watching people's creations on content on Helldivers. And man, there are like 30-second to a minute like news reports on like today on the Helldivers made it to Planet Escalon. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like there's news broadcasts about their progress in the
it's
game.
that unexpected level of immersion.
Yes, and they're not apologetic about it. They're like going all in on it. I think it's so cool that like, these guys are passionate about the game they're making. Right now there's like almost 300,000 Helldivers on Planet Cyberstan, right? Trying to crush the offensive on it. And I found out there's little factions of Helldivers that are like we guard this planet specifically, and they're like joining the dude. It's insane. Like
Wow.
yeah, they bear a certain standard. So when you're playing with them, like you'll know they're from that like that unit or whatever.
Mhm.
These guys are all about this game. I love the hype behind this game,
Oh,
and it's
they're
been a
fully
year.
committed.
Yeah, fully committed. I think this was rated number 9 on Steam, like during the Super Bowl, right? And I was like, wow, I would not expect Helldivers 2 to be number 9 on Steam like a year later. That's crazy to me. So yeah, check that out, guys. If it's your thing, it's a third person shooter, extraction shooter, arguably, right? It's funny, it's a parody, and man, it's just carnage and fun. Like it reminds me of like Smash TV, basically. This game's nuts. But anyway, this other game I'm about to show, I was actually playing a little bit a few months ago, and still want to keep playing it because it has an amazing art style. And it's one of my favorite genres. Dragon's Crown Pro is Oliver's choice for today.
Yes, indeed. You know, Absalom came out, and that was Ace and a couple other people got me onto that, and that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But Dragon's Crown is the goat.
Yep.
That's it. Like I've not played a better brawler than Dragon's Crown, hands down. And Dragon's Crown was just incredible when it dropped. Like, let's put it this way: Dragon's Crown initially came out in 2013. Okay, but this was a cross-platform release, so it came out on the PS3 and it came out on the Vita, and they were cross-play with one another,
Mm-hmm.
right? Completely. So you could just get in there, your saves would transfer between systems. The only thing that was holding Dragon's Crown down, frankly, was its hardware,
Mm-hmm.
right? And anyone that played on the PS3 could tell you, like, oh boy, no, you would have some dropped frames. But I mean, that incredibly gorgeous, deeply hand drawn art style completely through, spared no expense, like Jurassic Park style. And the PS3 just couldn't keep up with it. So then Dragon's Crown Pro came, it came 5 years later, right? In 2018. And not only did they up the frame rate, because now they had the power to back it up, they did a complete new narration. with like every playable character can also be the narrator of the story. I'm trying to remember what else, but there was a bunch of stuff that they added. One of my favorite things about Dragon's Crown is that it was at no point did it ever abuse my wallet. There was no DLC. There was no, crazy extra add-ons in Dragon On Forever. It's just like, hey, here's this game. We've got this story. Get in there, beat some asses, and have a good time. But we all know that the controversy followed that game because of George Kamatani's art style. And you could tell who
How
was
it's too
familiar
good.
with, right? We can tell who was familiar with George Kamatani in the first place and who wasn't, right? And we're not even going to get into that. But it's just, it was just an incredible, no, it's not even was. It is an incredible experience, to have the cooking mini game and then to, cap it all off. Once you've done everything and all that, and they go, oh, yeah, by the way, here's a roguelike mode. You just keep going until you die. And you're like, oh, okay. They're like, yeah, go have fun with that. No, it's so crazy. I platted that game twice over. Like I did it on the PS3, came right back and did that same shit on the PS4 because I love Dragon's Crown. Like if people like brawlers, it's literally top of the list. You must play. The list goes Dragon's Crown, Absalom, King of Dragons, Knights of the Round. Like, that's it. You're like Streets of Rage 4, number 5, right? Of the modern, post 2000 brawlers. That's where, well, it's not post 2000 on Knights of the Round and King of Dragons, but like those are the cream, like the cream of the crop. Everything else is very good, great even, but those are the masters of that genre. I need those homies over there at what is it? Is it Guard Crush?
Yeah.
Yeah. I need them to keep doing what they're doing because they know what they're doing. I like it. I want to give you more money. Like please here. But my wallet's open, but no one's taking it from me. It's right there. What are you doing?
Take my money.
Yeah, I was actually quite shocked there was like not even one extra DLC character. Like I was totally expecting like at least one as like an add-on, right? So I mean, I wouldn't be upset either. I wanted more. I was like, man, what is their artistic depiction of like, what maybe I don't know, a warlock or something. I want to see that,
Right.
So I found the list of everything that happened with Dragon's Crown Pro, and they didn't charge more. It was actually less, which is
much
incredible.
less.
Right? It was like when it came down, I think it dropped at like 40 on release. I want to say it's something like that. But right out the gate, it goes straight to 4K on the PS4. Like, oh, okay. Like 4K graphics up.
You didn't have to, but you did. Right?
They had to do that, but they sure damn did it.
Yeah.
Up to 4K on the PS4 Pro, up from 720p on the PS3. Like, oh, the entire soundtrack was re-recorded using a live orchestra, but you can switch back and forth between the original soundtrack and the live orchestra soundtrack. Obviously, it's now hard locked at 60 frames a second. The cross-platform support continued, right? So they made sure that you could play across the Vita, the PS3, and the PS4 all at the same time. All patches were included, and they added the ultimate difficulty and the Tower of Mirage, and up the level cap to 255. Like, damn, they went. Really, Dragon's Crown Pro, you can more treat it like definitive edition, right? That's basically the score. But man, I dropped so many hours up in that bad boy. Oh, I love to see it. Just think about it, make me want to play it now.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I mean, I think you could actually get this game now for like under $5. So if you're on PS4,
oh yeah.
So you like beat 'em ups, gotta pick that up, guys. So go ahead.
You gotta have it.
Matter of fact, do it right after the show. Just go get it. Add it to your collection for $4 or $5. That's less than like a macchiato at Starbucks.
You're gonna make me go look. I'm gonna go look right now. If it is $5 on PSN, I'm beating up everybody that doesn't buy it. Right? It's like, do you really want to get beat up over $5? Do you really want to get beat up over your lunch money? Like, stop playing. Let's see. I see dragons. Okay, let's see the price in the damn store. Oh, because I already own it. Damn
Oh
it,
no!
Hold up. Let me see if I can
bro.
pull it up.
Yeah, pop it on there.
Because I've got the physical.
Oh my god, it's $4.
$4. My bad.
It's four.
Brother.
It's like, right, we thought it was 5. It's $4.
It's
You
$4.
look,
Bruh.
you can walk your ass into a gas station, buy 2 20-ounce sodas, and it's gonna cost you more than Dragon's Crown Pro. Go buy that shit. Like, no, now everyone's just getting a paddle. Go to the principal's office.
That's right. You're in detention, and the only way out is to buy a copy of Dragon's Crown Pro.
Yo, we need to see you at the headmaster's desk.
Uh-oh,
That's
you
what
don't,
go
you
to
don't
the
want that.
principal's office.
You don't want that. Just a speaker. Just hello. What are you doing here?
Actually, you know what? Listen. I have the physical disc for Dragon's Crown. I have the art book for
Go.
Dragon's Crown.
Yeah.
I am about to double dip because it is well worth the pickup.
Oh yeah, yeah. Put that physical on the wall, man. Display that. It's a steel book too, I think, from what I remember. Right? It's like a
Yes.
steelbook.
You're correct. Yeah.
They went extra on the art. Like,
Yep.
come on now, support.
And now I have and am currently downloading Dragon's Crown Pro. $4, very
$4.
well spent.
There you go. We made a sale during this show.
Yeah,
All right.
even grabbing it physically, it's still super cheap. Like, you're not going to pay more than 30 for it.
Yeah, and it's collector's item. It's like it's very unique. You know, like I would just keep it. Like just hold on to it. You know.
Just be
And that's actually going to bring us to the 9th here on February, the next day, because Ace, I don't know if you've played this, but if you haven't, I think you do, because Arslan, the Warriors of Legend, is a Muso game. Have you played this game yet?
Believe it or not, I have not played every Muso game that's out there.
all right.
I haven't.
I
played
don't
Band
believe
of the Hawk. Like I haven't played Band of the Hawk,
Really?
and I haven't played Arslan.
It's a good one. Arslan is awesome. This one actually is a remake of the 80s version of the anime. This is the same artist as Full Metal Alchemist, as you can tell. But the original one, I'm trying to find a picture of it from the 80s, and it looks like almost like Nomura art from that series, because the 80s anime art is beautiful, right? So let me show you what it looked like back then. See if I can put it on the screen here. So that's what Arslan looked like back in the day, right? So that's the art style. Very 80s, very like 90s era, and then they remade it for to match its time. But it's basically a series about like Middle Eastern warfare, right? And this guy right here is basically like the Lu Bu of the show, and he's like the greatest warrior of the land on that time. And my pick on this one, I'll show you the gameplay here. It's actually a relatively solid game. It's got cell shading, as the art style, just kind of like the Band of the Hawk kind of stuff like that. Pretty smooth gameplay. They use a lot of tactics during that. And why I chose this one is because it was like, as a Muso fan like yourself, I thought this was one of more unique ones that were out there, because there's a lot of them right out there, right? And the variety of characters are also prevalent in the game, like fighting styles. So I'm surprised you haven't played the Berserk one, because the Berserk one's really good also. So let's see.
I mean,
I have
Ryan and
watched
I are going to
Oliver
tell
play
you.
it a lot.
No, that's a big one. It's a big one. It's rare as hell now too. Apparently,
Honestly, like seeing more of the gameplay for Arslan, it actually just kind of makes me wish that Koei Tecmo would pick up Full Metal Alchemist and make a true Muso out of that.
Do we really need a Muso for Full Metal? Come on, dog. What kind of legions are we fighting in the FM?
Well, I mean, there were a couple of Full Metal Alchemist games on the PS2 that were actually not too bad.
Yeah, they were like beat up. They were like Chaos Legion levels, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it looked really smooth for what it was. It's definitely it definitely felt like Dynasty Warriors like 10, right? Not 9. So it has a very unique combat system. I think that's what stood out from among it really well. Yeah, I highly recommend that for those that are looking for a Muso game that's out of like the usual norm of Muso. So check it out, Arslan, the Warriors of Legend. I think this one's also kind of rare, so make sure that it's available for you guys to pick up, at least physically for me.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Ace. So yours is the next one. I feel like you did this one last year, but you didn't really go into it. I'm curious what you have to say about it this time.
I don't remember if I did this one last year, but I do know that every time this game actually comes up, it honestly talking about it just makes me want to, pull up either an emulator or see if I could find a GBA and a physical copy of the game so I could sit down and play through it, because Metroid Zero Mission, like this game was like I played the original Metroid. I played Metroid 2, Return of Samus. Absolutely loved that sucker on the Game Boy.
Mm-hmm.
Super Metroid, aka Metroid 3, still my favorite in the series. But then seeing what they did with how they remade the first game in Zero Mission, and literally taking what they had learned and what they had implemented in Super Metroid.
Hold on. Sorry to interrupt you. Is Samus heterochromatic? Like heterochromia? Does she have that? Is one eye green?
That's just the visor.
Okay,
That's
I'm just making sure. Did I miss this detail this whole time? Sorry.
Oh,
no.
that would have been wild for everyone to find out. Like, I was today years old.
He's talking about Zero Mission and found out Samus.
Right? But still, just for the folks that actually missed the first Metroid on the NES, but came up around the time where they could get a Game Boy Advance and sit down and start playing stuff. And for those that picked up Zero Mission, having it be their first exposure to the series, I can't really think of a better start to actually experiencing Metroid, because again, it's a solid retelling of the first game, and it's got all of the quality of life features and a lot of the modern conveniences that were implemented and perfected in Super Metroid.
It's one of the times where I would strongly recommend that someone just play the remake over the original.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to, help get past those frustration points and have a better sense of direction. It's kind of like, oh God, there was another game that's like that where I'm like, no, actually, you can just play this. And, you can treat it like Resident Evil 4. Like, the Resident Evil 4 remake, I mean, it's like, that's basically Resident Evil 4. It's like, there's a handful of minor differences, but for the core, the bulk experience, right? And them just coming through and polishing and cleaning that up. I mean, look, I'm going to be real with you. I would love to see every Metroid just catch a full-on consistent remake, like they're doing with Resident Evil. That would be stellar. That would be just absolutely wild. Just let one team have it. Like all the 2D platform ones. Prime it's its own thing, right? Let them homies cook. They cooked, so let them have it. But
let Retro cook with Prime. But for the core games, for the 5 core games,
right?
Let's see those get remade. I mean, hell, we've got AM2R out there in the ether still.
They'll buy them. Like, people will buy them. It's not a case of we're like, oh, no, nobody want no Metroid game. Every time Metroid comes out, people want Metroid. They like Metroid, mostly due to that scarcity. You don't get a Metroid game very often, right? So it's like,
I think Nintendo's the only one that doesn't like Metroid. They keep like not listening.
Oh no, they like Metroid. They fucking hate Kid Icarus.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Now we can take this. See, this is where I got eyes on the inside. Kid Icarus, you don't get a Kid Icarus game. I said we need to go back to the time when Nintendo hated kids. You see how that folds in? They don't like that guy. Now, the last time we saw his ass was what, on the 3DS?
Uprising?
With Uprising. And we ain't heard shit from him since, man. They took that kid and put him in detention.
We heard more from Kid Icarus than we did from F-Zero.
Well, the thing with F-Zero is they don't want to cannibalize Mario Kart. That's like one of the things I read. Like, there's no chance like it has against Mario Kart, even though I think it's a different game. But whatever.
Right,
Um,
and maybe that's what was going on with Kid Icarus. Maybe it's too similar in overall structure to Metroid,
or
at
Star
least.
Fox, whatever. Right.
Right, but
I think
man,
Kid Icarus would have been a great Wii game, right? With the Wiimote stuff. Like, why
hey,
not?
you know what?
Right. Or I think coming back, like now that the indie scene is like big, like I can see Kid Icarus being like a cool like Hades kind of game. That'd be kind of sweet.
Oh,
Right. All right, I'll stop. All right, the
Yeah.
next game here is from Oliver. He talked about the other Gravity Rush, but this is the OG Gravity Rush.
Yes, we talked about just coincidentally last week we were talking about Gravity Rush 2, and I'm pretty sure this was just a straight up launch title for the Vita. Um, Again, there are games that I'm trying to think about how to say this. The launch window of new hardware is always like the most interesting time in the world because more often than not developers are going to sit down and they're going to try to utilize every feature possible in right to really showcase it. You they're going to experiment. It's brand new, so I mean quite literally you need to innovate with new hardware, especially if it has any kind of particular different features. And I remember sitting down, I had my Vita for the first time. I was like, let's find out what this score is with Gravity Rush. And the mere fact that just sitting in my chair and turning the camera was changing the point of view in the game. I was like, oh, you guys actually took a camera on a handheld and made it useful. And and using the gyroscope controls and all that stuff to actually control how Cat gets around. Is it necessary to play Gravity Rush? Absolutely not, right? Or else we wouldn't be able to play it on the PS4, right? But it was a really cool idea. It's really, really, really fun. It's Gravity Rush is one of those games that comes along that makes you remember that not all game developers are money chasing bureaucrats. There are people who just still have a wild imagination and they have an opportunity to just let it get out there and cook and have fun. And Gravity Rush is beautiful. It's silly. It doesn't take itself too seriously. It's got one of the best soundtracks I've ever heard. Right? Gravity Rush made such an impact on me that when my wife was pregnant and she had the little headphones taped to her belly so that he could listen to music. The song Old Town from Gravity Rush is one of those songs, and he still loves that song to this day. Like, no, Gravity Rush is just it's goated. It was doing its own thing in a time when everything was gray. Everything was gray and everything was hyper violent, and they were like, yo, what if we made a game where a bitch would just go upside down for no reason? It's like, what do you mean? He's like, no, just that'd be cool. What if you were just flip the local gravity completely? It's like, okay, that's a big brain time. And then they made it work. It actually works. It's not like, okay, well, this is a deeply flawed concept. No, it's a perfect execution on that idea.
Yeah.
Right.
It's super cool. It's funny because like I'm watching this, and I'm like, oh, kind of reminds me of Super Monkey Ball in a certain way, but not really, right?
Right?
Still
Not perfect game, but perfect execution of their idea.
Yeah.
Right? At any time, Cat can just go bloop, and just reverse local gravity and, hijinks ensue, right? If you want to run on the side of a wall, you just do it. You're just like, oh, why would I play Spider-Man when I'm doing this? And my favorite thing about Cat and Gravity Rush, it's like, oh yeah, she's a cute anime girl. Oh no, she's a bum. She lives like in a fucking sewer drain.
That's character right there.
Oh, yeah, she's homeless as shit. It's just like, oh, this is where I live. I'm like, you live in the sewers? Like, yeah, it's cool. It's like, you know what? I'm in. I'm like, let's find out where this is going.
You're like, all right,
it's a good time.
As long as you know, right? As long as you know, you
right. As long as you know that you're in the sewer, it's fine. But they're like, we're worried about you. They have roofs. They've invented these.
Damn, bitch, you live like this?
Yes, that's the game. Like, oh, honey, like, you don't know what to
Yeah,
do.
exactly. That's exactly what it is.
Like, oh,
Oh,
baby
no.
girl.
All right, you said the goat on February 10th,
Ugh.
2000. I think this was one of the most goated RPGs ever come out on a gaming console, right? And we're talking about remakes. This thing needs a remake, right?
One
Oliver, tell the world about Vagrant Story.
Vagrant Story showed me that Square could make a game that was not corny and not be horror and still be scary. There are so many things that I can tell you about Vagrant Story. First and foremost, this intro that's about to play. Actually, we'll get to it after this. But when they show the God, what is her name? Jesus. Oh no. Yes, when they show Muhlenkamp dancing. So technologically, this is the very first game in history to use Maya and Blender and stuff like that to.
I did not know that. That's crazy.
Yes, this is the first game. Like it's in my textbooks though. They went all out. They went all out with this one. This is the one to use Maya, and so all of Muhlenkamp is rendered with that. Um, we just came off of Ivalice not but a handful of years before with Final Fantasy Tactics, right? And that again, that was another one of those. Hey, this is actually really serious. This isn't hee hoo. Let's go on a quirky adventure. That was a fucking war, horrible shit. There were demons. Okay, there were demons in Tactics. We're like, oh, this is. You're like, I thought I was just fighting about this kid. Next thing you know, they're like, no, we made a pact with Eldritch Horrors. You're like, oh, okay,
That's
This
not
is
good.
oh no. So one of the things that Vagrant Story does is it's not funny. It's not a funny story. It's not a joke. As everyone can see from the text on screen, they leaned very heavily into Shakespearean style dialogue. Mechanically, they used the same system from Parasite Eve, right, with the sphere, and so having a sphere grid. So everything is a mixture of real time and in a manner of speaking turn based, right? But Vagrant Story is also one of the few games that has received a perfect score in Famitsu magazine. It is one of those prestige games. No, it was a straight 40 just across the board. Like it's incredible. And the beautiful thing here with Vagrant Story, this is when I knew when I first met Ace, I knew that I needed to take him seriously because he knew all about Vagrant Story and that it's one of the best fucking games ever made. That it carries weight. And like, nope. Once that all came up, I was like, keep an eyeball on this one. He knows something.
Had him over here looking at me like Thor, like, I like this one.
Yeah. Basically, I was just like, is he gonna flinch? Oh, he knows about Vagrant Story. That game's busting your ass. No, it's a beautiful game. It's an RPG that has no stores. You have no NPCs that you're talking to, right? Like not any just random people in a conversation. Nope, you're not doing that. You're dungeon diving. The 3D maps, to this day, I judge all video game maps based on this map because you have a full 3D map to see every aspect of not just the room you're in, the section of Leamon that you're in, and you really need to pay attention to it. I'm like,
You
No,
are
go.
a man on a mission. It's as simple
You
as
get
that.
you got shit to do. Like when I tried to explain it to my wife, I was like, I need you to think of medieval James Bond.
Yep.
I'm like, you are a one-man wrecking crew. You go in there, no blacksmith, no one's selling you anything. You want a better sword? You take your ass into the workshop and you're the one doing the hammer beating, drumming that up. You got so many weapons. What are it, 8 weapon classes? You got pole arms, crossbows, daggers, knives, big ass swords. You got shields you need to make, all kinds of crazy stuff. And this is when Square peaked. I mean, please everyone take note. It still says Square Soft,
Mm-hmm.
not Square Enix. This is an end of an era when they truly were at the height of their craft before everything came crashing down after that movie. I love Vagrant Story so much. That game came out 26 years ago. What I have right here in my hand, whoop, is the original official strategy guide for Vagrant Story that I bought 26 years ago. Because if you tried to get through the Snowfly Forest without this, good fucking luck to you, man. And and again, as the
Lord help
historian,
you.
I have a very interesting anecdote about this strategy guide. So this strat guide is written by Dan Burlew. He is so dedicated to this that he actually went through. If you go look up his site, he was like, I actually have some errors in here because he goes back and he replays the game. He just goes back and does it anyway. He's like, this is outdated. Here's a couple of updates that I've done. He's redrawn maps of the Snowfly Forest, just put up on his site for free to make sure that people can get through there well. So all these years later, he's still on it, right? And you know, as an Ivalice game, it set the tone. It set the tone, because then 6 years later we're gonna get Final Fantasy 12, and that is also not silly. It's also very serious. People have fallen in love with the Ivalice mythos, like
Mhm.
branch off of Final Fantasy, because they really get into some stuff, and they're always so dramatically different from each other that they shine, they sparkle. They're truly diamonds in the rough, and I can't tell that everyone needs to play Vagrant Story. But if you're a person who likes RPGs, or you like a serious story, or if you want to play something different, Vagrant Story is never one that you pass on. It's magical. It just is. That's it. Bottom line.
Mhm.
Dang. Well said. That doesn't get you to play. I don't know what will, guys. That it is definitely a gem of its time for sure.
But I fucking hate that hair. I have not been able to stand that hair all this time. Like, no, I see what you were trying to do, but this man looked like he out here cosplaying as
Isn't it like
what
Kuja's hairstyle? Like,
I,
is that
I was gonna say, he looked like he's trying to cosplay his old girl from There's Something About Mary in the hair.
oh,
God.
I'm like, put it down. Just put it down. He was already cool. He's
I
already
thought
cool. He didn't need all that.
because this hairstyle reminded me of this because Kuja.
Here we go. Here we go.
It was just like all right. Next one here, guys. We're not going to go too far away from SquareSoft. So in 211, another bad boy had released. What year was this, Ace?
Oh,
1999.
yep.
So just a year before Vagrant Story.
Yep.
I see a pattern here.
Year
Still on.
before Vagrant Story. Man, listen. February 10th and February 11th. Those were the 2 consecutive days that SquareSoft was absolutely they were on their shit.
Mm-hmm.
So recently, for Retro Sundays, I've been going back, doing the same thing with Final Fantasy VIII as I have with 7. Picked it up on Steam, decided what kind of mods are there for it to make this, a whole new experience. And I have found a few. But Final Fantasy VIII was much like Final Fantasy VII had really, changed the tone that was set by the previous games. 8 further changed the tone even from what was initially established in 7 with the more I guess the more future punk aesthetic, right? Now, there's a lot of other reasons that Final Fantasy VIII was controversial for sure, like a combat system where you're actually lacking magic points, and instead you literally robbed your enemies blind of the magic that you needed to cast, and you could either stockpile it to hook it up to your stats for increases, or you could literally in a way you were literally taking someone's arm and beating them with it, but magic instead. Of course, there's also a lot of controversy, a lot of division as far as the characterizations, but Final Fantasy VIII is definitely another one of those games where you can go back, you can sit down and play it, and revisiting it as an older person, it does hit different compared to, the first time you're playing it, especially if, like much of us that did play it on release, we were also in or approaching that awkward teenager phase that your main cast is going through. Outside of other things that even though it's like, 25, 26 years on, something like that, I'm not trying to spoil it. It's definitely one of those where you can sit down, play it, and if you're a fan of Final Fantasy, you will still be able to find something where you can have fun with it. And of course, it established that gunblades are cool.
Do you
But-
remember what the game was about? What the design principle that they said? What kind of story were they trying to tell?
I think this was one where they actually were trying to tell a love story.
He nailed it, folks. That's exactly was the exact design ethos behind Final Fantasy VIII. It was a story about love, all kinds of love, the love of your friends, romantic love, the love between parents and their children, love lost, love found, all that stuff. And Final Fantasy VIII is, I don't care what anyone says, they're never going to get me to dislike it. This is just for the people that aren't familiar with me. They don't know. But like I said, I've been gaming since I was 4 years old, right? I've been going for 40 years. Well, that same year, I had, at 4, I had an incredibly, incredibly terrible accident, right? And I fell off of a porch and I was impaled through the face. And if you're not looking now, it's been long enough. Now, if you're not looking, you might just notice it's a shadow. No, I have that scar, the very scar that Seifer and Squall have. I do have that scar across my face, and I was self-conscious about it, basically from that moment forward. And I got picked on and bullied over it, and all kinds of other stuff. And I wasn't able to start getting over it until Final Fantasy VIII happened, because a game said, no, that's cool.
Yeah.
That scar is cool. That's a mark of not something bad that happened to me. No, that's something I survived. It didn't kill me. And I didn't lose my eye. I mean, that it was that close. I'd be sitting here, a one-eyed idiot, talking to you. But no, it's quite literally right across here. In fact, by all means, if you want to pull that up closer so that they can see that.
Oh, it's laggy. Ugh. Get you in there.
No, I quite literally have that scar on my face, so it definitely hit close to home. I was like, oh, this is a story for me. So the universe is talking to me, so I need to listen. Also, random fact: Sifra and I have the same birthday.
Oh,
And I was the same age when it came out, so I was like, wait, you just put out a game with a character with the same birthday. I'm the same age, and they have the same scar across the face. I'm like, I really need to pay attention to what's happening here.
Mhm.
And then, the big joke is I ran off and married Renoa. At the end. I'm just saying, I'm just saying, if I get a dog, we're gonna just fucking name him Angelo and call it a day.
Well, I mean,
Like that's it.
come on. Hopefully I'm not stepping on your toes by mentioning this, but wasn't your wedding song Fisherman's Horizon?
You are correct. You are absolutely correct.
And
Yes, when we
not
got
gonna lie,
married,
that's a beautiful track.
this was one of my favorite tracks of all time. Yes, we got married to Fisherman's Horizon. That's how big of a deal Final Fantasy is. So, no, as far as I'm concerned, it's goated. I don't care what anybody else says. Triple Triad, damn it! Triple Triad, come on! That alone is so good. You can still go on app stores and people made standalone versions of Triple Triad. Like, fuck the rest of the game. You're like, no, man, I gotta get these cards. I gotta have them. You're like, how did I get sucked into this? You know, and of course, before we move on to the next game, Final Fantasy VIII was one of those games that had Pocket Station compatibility, but it never got released here, right? Like the Pocket Station stayed in Japan. It's not like you can just order one, but it's really interesting that they have this whole section in the manual for Final Fantasy VIII dedicated to the Pocket Station when we could never fucking buy one in the first place. Like it's fully localized in explaining, oh, you take Chocobo on a walk and all that fun shit, right? But no, it just didn't come out here, so we missed out on a lot of those features. It's a weird thing. It was a weird time.
Right. And also, before we move on to the next game, though, I have to make mention of one other game that came out on the same day, literally the year prior. And this is one that I did actually speak about a year prior. That being the game that I consider goated and no one can make me hate,
There you go.
Xenogears.
Always loved that game.
Dude.
I literally, with the exception of myself, right, and anyone that plays Xenogears is a diehard Xenogears fan.
Yeah.
I don't understand why, but like no, people swear on it. And here's the most consistent thing: everyone's like, "That game is great." They really fucked up at the end. Like, it's just turned into and here's some paragraphs, real quick. It's like, oh, you just rushed right through that, huh? Like, I don't know. You can tell them. That's just the things consistently. Everyone's like, the game is great. That end was weird as shit. Why didn't they follow it up with a proper sequel? And where's my HD remake?
Yep.
That's it every time. Every time.
Yeah, it's weird because like the Xeno series has been kind of hijacked by Nintendo now, right?
Because a lot of the developers from Xenogears had, when they went on to form Monolith Soft, Nintendo pretty much scooped them up.
Yeah,
I do have a question. Is this actually tangibly tied into Xenosaga?
I think I read somewhere it takes place like Xenosaga is like thousands of years in the future, right?
Xenosaga. So Xenogears was meant to be a part of a 6-part series.
There you go, folks.
Why they started with part 5, I have no clue.
Just throw you right in there.
Are you serious? Xenogears is part 5 of 6?
Dead series.
That's weird.
Yeah, they were like, you only have one budget for one game. They threw a dart at a board, and they were like, 5 it is.
No, wait, actually, no. Actually, it's not crazy at all. It's not crazy at all when you sit think about it, because they were like, fucking George Lucas started on the 4th chapter.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
It's like they're like, we can make it work. It didn't work.
It didn't work. But Xenosaga was basically supposed to be a retelling of the series, because the first game in the series, the first game in Xenosaga was literally the events of what happened with the original Zohar on Earth and how it eventually got off world as humanity was trying to migrate from Earth to, find a new home in space, basically.
Right.
It's like the relic in Dead Space.
Now, because of a lot of what had happened, with Squaresoft and with Square Enix or Square Electronic Arts, basically what was happening with Square around the time of Xenosaga's release. So, in short, the Spirits Within.
Yeah.
Man, Spirits Within catching strays tonight. Hard.
It basically screwed them over so bad that they
Yeah.
wound up having to condense the entirety of the 6-part series into 3 games. And even 3 was a condensation of at least 2 of the major story arcs.
We need an episode on Spirits Within. I feel like we have to talk about it.
Absolutely. I feel like
Absolutely.
I feel like that movie got a bad rap.
That movie got a bad rap. It changed the course of like, I know it messed with the company clearly, right?
It did.
At the same time, it like what is what is branding and how important that is when you think of a name and you're like your expectation of it,
Yep.
right? Man, that movie just oof. All right.
It's a good movie that should have never had the name Final Fantasy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that's basically it.
That's exactly, man. There's a lot of that stuff in gaming too. Like if it had a different title, it would have been received so much better. Like that.
Got
So,
the big fat art book of it and everything.
Mhm.
No, I'm in. Like, let's do it.
all right. I'm excited for this next one because I thought this was I wasn't a huge Monster Hunter fan yet, but I did play Tokiden Age of Demons a lot on Vita. Well, and
Oh,
Innocent
that's good
Sacrifice.
because we're gonna be able to share this one,
Yeah.
right? Because this was
Actually,
another
all
really early Vita title. Wait,
actually,
wait,
will,
all
because
three
I
of us
played
we played it on
on-
PS4.
Yep.
Yep, we were doing that on PS4, and I loved the ideas that they brought to the table, right? To really cut off and remove parts of those demons, and then having to spend that time like trying to absorb that essence. I still to this day, just as a standard part of like anytime I go and grind or something in a game, and I've really got to like lock the fuck in. No, I'm listening to music from Tokiden because it's some of the best in the biz,
Pretty hype.
right?
Yep.
Oh, it's hype as hell. But Tokiden came out in a time where you could tell all these other Japanese companies were noticing that, okay, wait a minute, Capcom is really making money off this Monster Hunter thing, this Monster Hunter experiment that they're trying to do. And so we saw a lot of duplicators and imitators.
Mhm.
And I would say that Tokiden would fall within that category,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
There was God Eater, right?
Yep.
And they did several of those. So there was God Eater 2. Didn't it get all the way up to 3? And isn't there a burst in there somewhere?
Let's
Like,
see.
is it
God Eater made it up to 3. God Eater Burst was a update on the Vita, which
of the original?
It was like
yeah, it was an
God
update
Eater
on the original,
Pro.
and then
you know?
on PS4 it was re-released as God Eater Resurrection. God Eater 2 Rage Burst was the complete edition, the complete definitive edition of God Eater 2, and then you've got God Eater 3.
There
No
you
burst.
go. And so what's interesting, what happens here with Tokiden is that they did get a sequel. I distinctly remember Ace streaming that
Oh yeah,
when Tokiden 2 came out, where it was like, no, they give you more of an open world. And they just never was able to get this to hit the right way, right? They didn't get those Monster Hunter numbers. It's not like there's something wrong with it. It's just it just didn't
didn't
hit
catch
people
on.
the same way.
There is
But these guys did do crossover content with Soul Sacrifice. So you
Mm.
could fight demons in here in Soul Sacrifice and literally just like get spells off of them is super cool. But the really cool fact is that everything that they learned from Tokiden and Tokiden 2 is what allows them to ultimately make Wild Hearts, which is another hunting sim game that way too many people slept on. It's stellar. It does things that Monster Hunter absolutely does not do. Like, I'm like, oh, this is finally, there's a true competitor, right? And it's got crossplay and all that. But no,
one thing.
Wild Hearts is good.
There is one thing that I have to say that Tokiden, so far as I've seen, has done better than any other monster hunting title out there.
Let me guess.
I am still upset that Freedom Wars isn't allowing us to do it.
Let me guess. It was the way that we interact physically with the demons.
No.
Shoot.
Fist weapons.
Yeah, throwing hands. Like, why? Equal lefts and rights. Like, why aren't you letting us use them?
Exactly.
You know what? I'm going to double down on what Ace is saying. Here's a raw fact. These are man's first weapon.
Yeah.
You were born with these. You could take your ass all the way back to Fred Flintstone era. Somebody was getting their ass whooped in that quarry. Somebody was getting rocked up in bedrock. Okay, somebody was somebody was throwing hands right up underneath the ribs. Right? Imagine, see, like if Fred Flintstone's car breaks down, how he get it started again? Hmm? I know his feet of the engine, but let's not worry about that right now. I'm saying he's gonna have to bash something, right? No,
And
it's a weapon that's
and
always
listen,
overlooked.
remember how you talk about how all implements of war come from throwing rocks?
There you go, throwing
Well,
hands.
well, throwing rocks, that right there is long range punching.
Yes, it's true. Like, what is it? It's a blunt object. You're like, what if I could just take that off and just hit the guy with the, like, wait a minute, that hard ass rock.
Extension
No,
of your arm, technically.
it's
Yeah. Yep.
you're doing one of those numbers. No, no. So Tokiden is not great. Tokiden is good, but it laid the groundwork for something better, and I'm glad that they didn't give up.
Yeah.
Like more than anything else.
Also, I like the Japanese demon mythology, like that kind
Yeah.
of like aesthetic they use, right? I think that what's really saved them to make it really different from Monster Hunter.
Yep.
So, and that's a good one. And I think my issue with W Force is typecasted as a Dynasty Warriors creator game, right? So when you see W Force, you're like, oh, well, not another one of these. I'm just gonna mash the whole game, right? So it's like they got that going on against them, right? First of all, but the ones that know, if I don't think during this time creators had such weight in their voices yet, right? This was what, 2014.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there was, but like I feel like now influencers are just like really, really influencing other gamers to try other stuff. There could be a resurgence since Monster Hunter, Wilds is like, picking up steam, and if they want other options, like people can go back to this because Kiwami is a thing, right? So
Yep.
check that out, guys, if you guys can. So
Yep.
Yep,
fantastic.
Kiwami's a thing, and Wild Hearts did get
Wild
uh,
Hearts, yep, that
it,
too.
it caught a re-release on the
Yep.
Switch too as Wild
Hey,
Hearts
that's
S. I
right.
tried it. I didn't think they were going to be able to pull it off, but no, they sure did.
Yeah,
It
no,
works. It's great.
it's pretty decent. Like it's the only thing weird about it is like it's like published by EA, which is like the most random thing ever for a W Force game. But
Yep.
hey, man, if they're gonna make a game, that's I'd rather have it made, right?
Right.
Than not make it made. All right. Oddly enough, February 12th, nobody had a pick, so maybe Nick had one, but we won't find out till maybe next week on Dragon Ball Z. But 213 Ace also has another one from the good old boys at Warriors. And I think he learned about this game on a shadow drop. He was like, "What? I love
Yeah.
Hades. I like Muso. What's up with Warriors Abyss?"
Bruh. when this thing dropped last year, it fucking blindsided me. Because I forget whether it was a state of play or what it was. It was some event.
I
Yeah,
think it was a state of play,
yeah, it
or
was
like
a state of
summer
play.
summer thing, one of those things.
Like it was like state of play or Summer Games Fest, one of those
Yeah,
two.
one of
But
those.
pretty much like end of the show, this thing was like tucked in on the back end. Didn't think anyone was gonna
Yeah.
be sticking around for it. And I'm sitting here going, okay, we got some new stuff from Koei Tecmo. It looks like more Dynasty Warriors, and then it's like, wait a minute, what's with that isometric view? And then
Yeah.
what? And then they show off more of the gameplay. They start showing off, the different, they start showing off the different items you can pick up, the different, the different formations, and then it goes now available on all platforms, and I'm like, what? So I decided to pick it up and see what it was all about. And yes, if you liked Muso Endgame, aka Warriors Orochi 3, then
So I hate that, but
blame
you're right.
Andre. He's the
But
one that
you're
said
but you're right.
it. He's the one that said it. But if you liked Warriors Orochi 3 and Ultimate, then this is definitely going to be something that's right up your alley, especially if you also, like myself, had gotten into action roguelikes like Hades. Because this is very much instead of like Hades where you are trying to escape the underworld, here you are basically recruited by the god of the underworld to go down deep into each of the levels to stop this other, major demon from rampaging and just completely ripping reality apart.
Crazy. It's crazy.
But the big thing about the character advancement, aside from the different emblems that you can get to increase your stats and certain attacks, is also that your your team composition helps as well. Your team composition is basically your weapon, because each of the characters that you can recruit to your current playable party, which you can have up to 6,
Yeah.
each of them corresponds to extensions off of your heavy attacks, off of your
You can
charge
change
attacks.
6 characters in a game? You can rotate through?
Uh well, basically, like, you start with a lead character. So let's say
Yeah.
if you pick Xiao Yun,
Yeah.
then as you go through and you know you recruit other characters to your force to, like, give you more options available as far as who you can have, in each of the basically in each of the expansion slots that you have.
Mhm.
So you can compose teams where it's like, all from one kingdom or one faction, or you can literally just pull from all across the map. And just like with, the Warriors of Orochi games, the characters come from all over. You've got everyone
Yeah.
from Dynasty Warriors 8, like from Dynasty Warriors all the way up
Atelier,
through
right?
8.
Is in there too, if I'm
Everyone from Samurai Warriors all the way up through 4. You've got characters from the Atelier series. You've got, let's see, Yumiya, Ryza, and crap, I already forgot the. Let's see,
Man,
Yumiya, Ryza, and Sophie.
I found some alpha footage of Warriors Abyss. Check this out.
And
This
then you've also got, of course, oh, there we go, Dynasty Warriors on the Game Boy Advance.
some alpha footage.
Pretty much. But I mean, then you also have characters, of course, from Ninja Gaiden. You've got Ryu, Momichi, Rachel, Ayane. And they're adding even more characters in with an update coming up in the next couple days, bringing in characters, remixed characters from Dynasty Warriors Origins and a whole new scenario type as well.
Wow, it's still getting supported. I love that. Oh, it's like they love their games, I always
Ain't
love
that
it when,
enough?
like I always love it when their games talk to each other, and what I mean by, like, they're all kinda connected in a certain way, like, that just it makes it feel like not every game is just an isolated project,
Well, I
like,
mean,
yeah, it's like all their kids, like, we love all our children.
it's like KOF.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. Oh, man, this one right here, Oliver, I don't know, man, you gotta speak up about this one, man.
You know,
State of emergency.
we were just talking about Grand Theft Auto before we went live. If you still got that sitting next to you,
I do.
I'd love for you to flash that for people. For me, I first experienced GTA playing on a friend's PC after school, right? And then later I pick it up on the OG PlayStation.
What?
Obviously, there's Grand Theft Auto 1 and Grand
2.
Theft Auto 2. Hot damn, right? They
Yeah.
drop on the PlayStation. There you go. He's got the British expansion, right? Um, and then, everything is quiet for a while. Then Grand Theft Auto 3 happens. And it's one of the biggest releases of all time, right?
Facts. Yep.
Right? It changed. It literally is a game, not just a game changer in video games. It's a game changer, period, right? Of what kind of content in video games. A lot of people found out the hard way that video games aren't all for children, right? We saw the rise of things like Jack Thompson and, various groups of interest getting angry at depictions of things that you could do to people in Grand Theft Auto 3. And they're going, well, I mean, it's not up to us. They're like, so much of the bad things you can do in a GTA game are very much so optional. But, Grand Theft Auto 3 dropped and it went bananas, right? So Rockstar is now on it's on everyone's mind. Whether you play video games or not, you have a pretty good idea about what GTA is and who Rockstar Games are. And State of Emergency came out the next year. It was not what anyone fucking expected.
Bro, I was one of the anyones. I 100% admit it. I was one of the anyones.
So what's interesting, like just general idea, is that there's 5 different characters you play as. You are quite literally, as shown on screen, it's really your writing, right? And the story takes place, like, covers from like 2023 to 2035, and it's like, holy shit, how wrong were they back in the early 2000s about what the world would look like. Motherfucker looked like Magnum PI. Come on now. Like,
Hawaiian shirt is back.
but
This feels
but
like
the
GTA meets Dead Rising.
It's
right,
true.
and
Wow.
that's what I was going to say. That's the thing that is amazing about State of Emergency, is how much stuff can be going on screen at any point in time, right? And before I finish talking, I'll touch on that just a little bit, but no, this really threw people off, and they were like, this isn't, I thought this was going to be like GTA. No, it's very mission based, it's very stage based, it's everything that Grand Theft Auto isn't. But luckily, in this same year, within 6 months, Vice City is going to come out, right? Like, whoa. Yeah, so this came out, like, as stated, February 12th. And then, God, I want to say it was exactly 6 months later, but let's see. Let me double check.
It's very arcadey, scheme.
October. It comes out October. So, yeah, I mean, and everyone basically forgot about it. But here's the other thing: everyone was really mad at Rockstar over this game, but Rockstar didn't develop this game. It's not theirs. They published it, but they didn't make it. It's made by Viz Entertainment. Right? So to give you an idea of who made this game, they made Earthworm Jim 3D.
Yeah,
They made a Powerpuff Girls game.
It makes sense.
They
It all
did
makes
this.
sense now.
They did Evil Dead, A Fistful of Boomstick. And then they do Narc in 2005, which was basically a remake of the arcade game that we all came up with. But basically, they went defunct. Like, they're completely shut down as of July 2014. Right? So this was never a game that Rockstar themselves made. But that label, see, when we talk about that branding, just like with Final Fantasy, there's an expectation. When you see that damn Rockstar logo, it means you're going to be getting something good. And this is not what happened. This is not what happened for people. And there is an actual sequel to this. They did follow up with the sequel. There's a State of Emergency 2, right? So it's just one of those weird things.
I thought I blocked that game out of memory. Now I'm like, oh my god, right?
Like, oh no,
it does exist.
It is a game of its damn time.
In 2002, that was a time, especially for me, fresh out of high school and everything. So, Ace, you got some news for 2005 here on YouTube. Tell us more.
Yep. So, Valentine's Day 2005. Let's just say, without what happened then, we wouldn't be sitting here right now, because that right there is the day that YouTube was first founded. And man, has this platform come a long way, for better and worse. But listen, YouTube in a way, especially its growth over the last 21 years, it was like a microcosm of the internet at large, because when YouTube first came on the scene, it was very much a Wild West kind of environment, where anyone, if you had the capability, anyone could just pop up a video and just have it up there for people to watch. It was like a message board almost, but more for posting video content as opposed to just text-based stuff. And I mean, hell, there was actually a point where, again, especially back when I first started, where you didn't even need to make a YouTube account to post videos. You
Man,
could just
that's dangerous.
For some of our younger viewers and listeners, this is such a long time ago. I mean, a lot of the people that tune into our streams are in their 20s, right? They're still in their 20s, so they were children when this launched. But to help you guys get some real context on why this is a huge moment in gaming, even though it's like, well, this isn't a video game. No, it's that big, because sharing video over the internet during this time period was very, very hard. It was difficult, and the download of a video was typically going to be massive, right? The codexes and encoders weren't nearly as good, right? So if you wanted to watch a minute long video, again, back in 2005, where a high speed connection would be considered 20 megabytes down. Just stop it. Try and wrap your head around that concept for a minute. A high speed internet connection would be 20 megabytes down in 2005, right? I know for a fact that almost everyone sitting here with a smartphone, their phone is faster than that, right? So these guys came up with, and this was just a couple of college guys, wasn't it? I think it was just a couple of undergrads or whatever that were like, you know what? I want a way to be able to easily share videos on the internet. And original YouTube was, I believe, done in Flash. Yeah, I think it was just a Shockwave Flash player.
Yep.
Right, and they figured out a way to take that video and then convert that on the back end into Shockwave Flash, because, and this is when Flash was king, because you could do so much with it.
Yep.
Newgrounds was king. All of that stuff. It was very, very light and easy on internet connections. And so for them to do this, I mean, they created a juggernaut, right? Like you could basically trace all internet video, easily accessed internet video, to this moment right here. Does anyone remember what the very first YouTube video is?
No. All I can think of is X-Men with Juggernaut. That's the only one I can think of.
The very first YouTube video is a homie at the zoo. He's at the zoo. That's it. Well, yeah, see, there you go. Everyone knows it's at the zoo.
Was it from the developers?
Yes.
Okay.
It was just tested. He was like, oh, he's at the damn zoo.
That's true.
Like, in fact, let me see if I can pull up, because I don't think it's ever been taken down. I think they are specifically protecting it, but yeah, I'm looking at it. 20 years ago, me at the zoo. It has 381 million views. It is a 14-second long video.
That's wild. And now we're here doing podcasts in 4K. Holy smokes.
Right? Talking nonsense. There was a lot of wild shit back in that time, though. I mean, it was the beginning of the explosion.
Yeah.
Of the individual being able to make real content for anyone that they wanted to, and it's just as you said, we couldn't be here. There would be no Twitch. There would be no Twitch without YouTube, right? I mean, even there are people out there who the idea of the Let's Plays starts around this time period, people sitting down and trying to find any way to get that content up there. I remember when I forget what the name of them were, but do you remember the really small personal camcorder that had the little USB that would pop out?
I know what you're talking about, but
yeah,
I know what you're talking about. I've seen those.
Yeah, those started coming out right around the same time, because people caught on that, wait a minute, this could be the next big thing. And well, they're right, it is the next big thing.
Before I even got into doing actual videos like character walkthroughs and stuff, my first video content was literally just Let's Plays that I recorded and uploaded right here on YouTube.
Yeah. Same with me. I was messing around with Windows Movie Maker while I was like, on
Which
my
I still use
PS3,
to this day.
right, playing Third Strike and KOF 13, showing videos off that. So it's kind of crazy, man. Yeah, it's kind of wild. Like, imagine YouTube not existing. Like, think about that. Like, when you say I'm gonna go check out this video, we go to YouTube right away. Like, and when we go to Google, we go to YouTube also. Like, we don't trust other video platforms. We just go to YouTube. We assume that they just have it, right? So it's part of history for sure. 100%. Good call, Ace. All right. Well, I have this gameplay up on the screen, and since we were in the topic of Evilise, I think
Mm-hmm.
this is very fitting for our last game of the February 14th.
This is my state of emergency.
Oh,
Everybody
This
has-
is my state of emergency. Let me tell you, I
Oh no.
I feel like that. I feel like that, homie. My disappointment was immeasurable, and my day was fucking ruined. Look, when they announced Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, oh, I went all in, baby. I went all the way in. Right? I was like, no, I'm playing Tactics. Right? Just because of how many hours I dropped, I broke the internal clock on the original Final Fantasy Tactics. Look, listen. Look, I don't think he knows. I don't think he knows. So when I've talked about playing Tactics before, do you remember in Tactics how you can see the ages of all the people in the historium, right?
Yeah.
As
Remember that?
as you go through, right? And each dot you move on the map is a passage of days. And the whole Lion War is about, this stewardship of this child who is now the king, right? And like the game starts and he's like 1 or 2 years old.
Mhm.
I played that shit so much. This motherfucker was 43. I finished the game. I was like,
our
"How
age
old
by the time it was done.
he was a grown man." I was like, why are we even having this conflict? No, because I just kept grinding stuff. By the way, they don't do that they take that shit out. You can't see their ages in the remake because I'm like, yeah, it quickly falls apart. I went all out when Tactics Advance came out. I went out, I bought the GameCube. I got the Game Boy Advance game player for the GameCube because I was like, I'll be damned if I'm playing Final Fantasy Tactics on a GBA. I'm going to have that full experience. And then I was like, oh, that's so cool. What a cool idea. No, this is taking place in the real world, and these kids are reading a book. They live in the town of Ivalice, and they're reading the book of Final Fantasy Tactics, and they get pulled in like never-ending story-wise. And then that's when the shit hits the fan.
Oh.
Like what you're watching right now is quite literally the beginning of the game where they start off by teaching you the combat system through the kids having a snowball fight. Right, and then they outside of the school, and then they go in, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, let's find this book," and then they get pulled in, and then it all goes the fuck downhill from here, man. Because they introduced the judges system, the same judges from Final Fantasy 12,
Oh,
right? Actually, yeah, they debuted over here, and this is the big change that they made too. I mean, it's a tactics game, but before every fight. And you don't get to know before you prep for any conflict. They go, boop, they show you what the penalty cards are going to be.
no.
Right? And they tell you things that are not allowed to be done during that fight. So they can
that
be
random?
like, hey, I'm not sure if it's randomized or
Oh.
or if they're completely fixed. I'm not 100% sure on that because it's been so long. But they can do things like, hey, if this class takes a particular action, right, we'll throw a penalty card and like you might lose a turn or something like that. Other times there's a complete ban on something and they will take a motherfucker and put them in jail and you just lose them from that combat and you don't get to know these things in advance. And it's like, so I just leveled up. I'm like, oh, cool. I can make my bunny girl into a fencer. I'm like, all right, let me go into the next battle. And this motherfucker's like, fencers and bunny girls are banned from this establishment. No, it's your ass in jail. I was like, I don't want to do this. I was like, this is crazy. Why did you guys not think about this?
Well, that's just rude.
It is. It's one of the rudest fucking games I've ever played. But they changed that when they came up with Tactics A2. They learned their lesson, right? And that's on the DS.
BS.
And
Yeah.
it's so much better. They smoothed that whole thing out. They realized mistakes were made. Now it's just interesting when to see what kind of penalties will be in place. They absolutely they're not as weighted as heavily against the player. Like they totally hit enemies too, and it just adds this nice like little random dynamic to your fights. That it's like, oh, okay, I need to think around this problem a little bit.
Yeah.
But no, this game is fucking this. See, look, they hated kids. That's what it was. They hated kids, and it showed. And I was a grown ass man. I was like, Square Enix fucking hates me. I'm never touching this again, and I haven't. I have not touched that game since then. Since 2003? Hell no. No, I won't. I'm gonna have to play it again, aren't I?
If you guys donate $20.03 to Oliver, he'll play the game again.
That's fucked up, but I probably would. It's brutal though. It's a brutal game. But you see it's beautiful. Like just imagine what we just saw on screen. But that's in the palm of your hand, right? The power of the sun and in the palm of my hand. No, it's a beautiful to look at game, right? For the platform it's on. But boy, it is keen to kick you square in your damn teeth as fast as possible. No, they want you to hurt. Like they might as well call it Final Fantasy Tactics Hurt Locker Edition because that's what it is, man. It'll tear your ass up.
Final Fantasy Tactics Johnny Cash.
Now I know to stay away from that game.
Make you hurt.
I was always curious. All right, guys. Well, that was a week in Memory Card Chronicles. We did it. We saved Baldur's Gate. Now, of course, if you guys haven't noticed, we're wearing these awesome hats made from Gamer Quotient and Gamer Quotient staff, students, faculty, all the above. Give us a quick check here at gqasiandude-shop.fourthwall.com. From tees to hoodies to hats and more, we have everything in the shop designed for gamers who live the lifestyle, whether you're grinding late nights, streaming, or just repping gaming culture day to day. And today you learned what GQ was. So, of course, I would love for you to sport one of these and tell other people and ask other people, what is your GQ? That'd be fantastic. So, yeah, everything you buy here supports the podcast, supports us, makes us do this more. So, and believe it or not, I shared this link at work and they were like, and I was like, Oliver's right. And they were like, where are all the mouse pads? I was like, what? What are you talking about? God damn it. All right. So I said, okay, fine. I'll put some mouse pads. Yeah, coming soon, mouse pads. So keep an eye out. Check it out.
Yeah, if we actually put up a welcome to the next class mouse pad, I might actually have to wind up getting that.
All right, see, there you go. No, my coworker that was sitting right next to me was like, "Where are your mouse pads at, bro?" And I was like, all right.
He's like, I heard it twice from two guys that don't know each other.
Yeah, exactly.
There's got to be something.
Okay, I get it.
Message received.
Yeah, check that. Appreciate it. Every one of us here. So also it's really cool when I go to like some random like game store local town. They're like, Gamer Quotient, what's that? I'm glad you asked. So it's kind of our thing, our hook. So and I love that. All right. Well, today is a pretty light show. But I feel like we haven't covered the topic yet. So I'm gonna do the final boss, and I want us to talk about it even more because I believe we have two mastery players here in the faculty. And there are some time played players here as well, and a little bit of both. That's the beauty about this. You can be a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So tonight's final boss is called Mastery Isn't About the Time Played. Okay, so let me pull this up and get this guy going. Let's get our final boss music to get you guys motivated, right? Let me pop in Virgil.
Now I'm motivated.
Yes, you are. And we're gonna go. Hopefully, you guys hear the Final Fantasy VIII final boss theme. So that's kind of like the theme. All right, mastery isn't about time played. Somewhere along the way, gaming convinced them that time played equals skill. Hundreds of hours, thousands of hours, a profile badge that quietly says, I've been here longer than you. And if you don't have that number, you start feeling like you don't belong in the conversation, right? But here's the truth that doesn't get talked about enough. Time played is not the same thing as mastery. That's right. You can spend 1,000 hours doing something the same way and never actually get better at it. It's true. You can grind levels without understanding systems. You can repeat habits without ever questioning them. You can chase numbers without learning why something works. And on the other side of that, there are players who learn faster, adapt quicker, understand deeper, and respect the game more with a fraction of the hours. That's right. Because mastery isn't about how long you've been there, it's about how present you were while you were there, right? Think about fighting games. You can play matches nonstop, or you can slow down, lab a situation, understand spacing, timing, risk. One approach inflates your playtime, the other builds your skill. Souls games teach us this brutally well. You don't win because you played longer. You win because you learned patterns, respected the rules, and stopped panicking. You're more in control than ever before, right? Strategy games, same lesson. High APM doesn't save bad decisions. Clear thinking does. And here's where it gets personal, right? A lot of us don't have endless time anymore. We're all adults here. We got responsibilities, we got jobs, families, fatigue. I'm an old ass man, I know, right? And life in general, okay? So when the culture tells you that your opinion matters less because you've only played 20 hours, ooh, that hurts, you know? But it shouldn't. Because if those 20 hours were intentional, if you had paid attention, if you had reflected, if you had learned, then your experience is valid. VALID, valid. Mastery isn't about being the loudest. It's not about flexing hours. It's not about gatekeeping. Mastery is quiet. It shows up in understanding, in patience, and also in humility. Knowing when to push and when to stop. So if you've ever felt behind or dismissed, or like gaming moved past you, hear this tonight. You are not behind. You are just playing differently. Okay? And different doesn't mean worse. It means intention. And that is your final boss for tonight. I would love to review that with the panel. Whoever wants to go first.
It's it reminds me of this one saying that I've heard, paraphrased and repeated in various situations. But, if you have to tell someone that you are a professional, if you have to tell someone that you're a badass, if you have to tell someone that you are a nice person, then you're not as much of one as you make yourself out to be. Mastery over any skill, mastery over any craft. It's quiet. You're not advertising. You're not advertising over a bullhorn or a loudspeaker that you're like, a pro at, say, Street Fighter or at Tekken. You're not advertising. I'm even with as much as I love to talk about, battlefield action games. I'm not out there saying I'm a Muso master, right? I, you know, when the conversation, the games come up, it's like, huh, check this out. Let me jump into the conversation with you because it's about the discussion itself. And I let my knowledge of the genre and of the mechanics speak for me through what I discuss or through how I play when I'm either gaming on my own or even doing character walkthroughs. I mean, the time and the experience, the time that actually builds up the experience is, that it's great because you've had that time available to actually build up and experience games and activities that you enjoy. You can go into, you know, part of becoming a pilot is getting, what was it, like 10,000 hours on the sim?
Yeah. Experiment, like, yeah, experience while practicing, right?
But that time is for practice. You can build the understanding of the systems. You can build the understanding of how to manage lift and drag, how to manage aerodynamics, how to keep the horizon on a specific viewpoint so that way you don't lose yourself in a tailspin. You can build that understanding in literally a fraction of the time. If you're going forward with clear intention, you could do so, hell, at the very least within the first 100 hours. You could sit down and you could sit down and play Microsoft Flight Simulator. You could sit down and play something like Chuck Yeager.
Nice.
And through that, you can still, again, if you're playing it with intention, if you're paying attention, you can grasp the systems and grasp what you need to really be good at the game, or just, good at whatever it is that you're doing in a short span of time. But that's just it. There's a difference between, getting in the time and getting in the practice and actually having the understanding. Even having that understanding, you still got to practice it. And that's where the time spent, while it is important, it doesn't necessarily equate to mastery.
Yeah, I could see that. I think like people get the two mixed up because when like Oliver, you've said that like, oh, I have 900 hours in this game, right? But you weren't just like brain dead playing it. Like you literally grinded out a boss, learned its every like point and mastery of what it does and your weapons, and like, yeah, you made your own strategy guide against an opponent basically, and you had a goal, right? That was focused.
And even through pulling other players through it, that's
There you
still,
go.
that's further understanding, because it's like you're now understanding how someone else is seeing that same fight.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yep.
know, it's like martial arts. We can go back to what Bruce Lee said about, I'm not scared of the guy that knows 1,000 different kicks. I
Mm-hmm.
know the guy. I'm scared of the guy that knows one kick, but he's practiced it 1,000 times because he really knows how to stick it to you, right? You know, you can play a game for 1,000 hours, but it's just like you said, does not equal, right? Is kind of the key here. What did you do in those 1,000 hours? Did you just wander around with your thumb up your ass for 1,000 hours and learn nothing, right? So just because you go, well, I got 1,000 hours clocked, you might be the worst fucking player of the game we've ever seen, right? But then someone's like, no, I've really been like engaged for those 1,000 hours, makes that person wildly dangerous. Um, to follow up on that. Yeah, I know everything there is to know about Enter the Gungeon, and I've played it for 900 hours. But here's the thing: those 900 hours, that's not I'm winning for 900 hours. No, I got my ass kicked for 900 hours, and that is a big difference. I think that's the biggest thing that people struggle with mentally when they get into difficult games and then they lose. They don't learn how to lose, right? We get in, we take the time to learn how to win, but we don't teach people how to lose and to come up short, right? And to be okay with that. Like, one of the things that keeps me from getting phased out, I try to tell people this on stream, like when we play Monster Hunter, for example, with Monster Hunter World was Ace's first, right?
Hmm.
Right? And I know you remember way back, even in early beta for that, I was like, hey, we've never done this before. We don't know how these monsters are going to behave. We could get completely caught by something that we could not see coming. It's okay. This is how Monster Hunter works. This is the process. If you lose the fight, you didn't do anything wrong. You did exactly what the game anticipated, right? And you learn that your job is to go, what happened? Why did it happen? Is there a way for me to prevent it, mitigate it, right? Can I deflect it? Can I absorb it? Can anything that I can do, right? To get through that stuff. And so it's really important that we teach people how to lose gracefully. When I sit down, I go play hard and play a brand new hard game, I expect to lose. That's how I can keep myself from beating myself up. Right? I go, well, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I've never seen this before in my life. Like,
Yeah.
why would I expect perfection and perfect execution out of myself? When we play Monster Hunter, I've played every Monster Hunter that's come stateside, and the number one thing that I always do, no matter what, when a new Monster Hunter drops, I immediately assume I don't know what I'm doing. Just because when I knew the score in the last game, with the changes that they make, they can be so dramatic that it completely negates whatever experience you had, except for that I'm probably going to have to learn some patterns and pay attention, right? And that's really the score. That's what it comes down to, is learn how to lose. That was something I picked up in Demon Souls from what we were talking about last week, and then I came up with a whole new way to describe losing in those difficult games, getting your ass kicked in Demon Souls, or getting your ass kicked in a roguelike, or Monster Hunter, or anything else like that. People are like, oh my god, you're so good at Monster Hunter. I go, no, I'm not. I stopped being bad at Monster Hunter. And people go, wait, isn't that semantics? No, it's not. It is definitely not a semantic. I mean, it's a very important one. I didn't get good at Monster Hunter. I still don't think I'm good at Monster Hunter. I've hunted with some of the best people in the franchise. Like, that Monster Hunter is what got me into Capcom creators, because I play it so much. But the importance of that distinction, I didn't learn how to do all these good things in Monster Hunter. I learned how to stop doing bad behaviors. Right? That's the key. I stopped doing bad things. Take Demon Souls or Dark Souls, for example, is an even better way to demonstrate this. Stop walking around blind corners and not expecting an ambush. If you're blind, assume that you're going to get ambushed, right? I died a lot of times in the original Demon Souls before I started going, I cannot see what's coming up around that next corner, and I come around that corner with that shield up, right? And I stopped falling for, easy gotchas and gimmies and stuff like that. I started assuming that the worst was coming to get me and having a plan in advance. And so that's how I started making that progress, right? When we go and fight brand new monsters in Monster Hunter, I spend about 5 minutes not actively engaging the monster. I want to see what it's going to do. I want
Keep your eyes open next week, folks. Arc Tempered Arkfeld, you'll get to see this in practice.
Right. That's exactly what's going to happen, because my tradition is when they drop those finals, I've got to go in there and fight that guy myself with my skill set. And that's exactly what's going to happen. I'm just going to spend a few minutes just eyeballing. Like, nope, no need to rush in. I got plenty of time on the clock, right? Even if I lose this fight, great. I'm here to learn something about what is this monster doing differently, which, they clearly showed, right? He's got brand new moves. So people are going to get hurt. But learning how to lose is so important, that I watched people completely tap out of Monster Hunter World when Art Tempered Nergigante dropped before Iceborne.
Ah,
Like, they were like, oh, he's impossible. I was like, no, I just walked in there and did it with the exact weapon you're using. It's not impossible. Not at all. But I was ready for a hard fight. I was like, this is the last fight. It's the last dance. There's nothing else coming past this point. So they're going to throw everything at me, and made myself emotionally prepared for that. Sometimes getting better at things requires you to step outside of that comfort zone. And when I say sometimes, I mean many times, if not most times. The hardest fight in Monster Hunter Wilds, which is so fun because he hasn't done it. So when we drag him into Wilds and have to take him to go fight Omega Planetes, that's going to be fun.
Oh,
I hate, historically, I've hated Lance. I used Lance in the earliest iterations of Monster Hunter. I was like, this is the stupidest shit I've ever seen. Threw it away and haven't touched it in over 20 years.
It's so close to my PlayStation. It's like right in my hand's reach.
He's sitting right there and he just doesn't. I took this weapon and I hated it and I did not touch it. And I finally sat down and have learned how to play Lance in order to kill Omega Planetes because it's what needed to be done. I was like, well, we just need a tank. I know how to do that. I've been tanking in MMOs for years. Right? And because it had this kind of that expanding effect, right? Where because I came in confident, I was like, nope, I'm going to keep control of this guy. If there is no control over him, it's because the game has decided that he's done doing aggro for that time being. But no, I jump in there and I'm fighting with this weapon that I have no experience with. I mean that, no experience with that weapon. But I know I take the stick and poke that motherfucker in the face and keep his attention on me. This is a big ass shield and see if it does something. Sure enough, where we finally start getting those wins in there. And then I'm able to take what I learned. Okay, here's how you tank. Here's how you keep that attention. Here's how we can take advantage of those damage opportunities. So I'm like, here's why you tanking is important. I was like, they can't do their jobs if you're not doing yours. And it's like, it's a back and forth symbiosis. And, people, I had to explain that. I was like, look, I get his attention. He's not doing all these other attacks. That means you have the opportunity to go bash on those legs. My job is to stop fucking running. My job is to stand still, plant my feet as much as I can, so that you guys can do your job, because when you're doing that, you're flinching him, you're knocking him around, which means he's not hurting me, right? So if you're doing your job, I'm doing my job, and back and forth, and it all flows together, right? But the point of that story is it's taken me 20 years of playing Monster Hunter to develop those ideas and to understand how important that game is to, just like we said way back at the beginning, what you learn from video games, right? What they actually teach you, realizing that every time the monster is bigger than you, the monster hits harder than you are going to actually have to use your caveman primal instinct traits. You're going to have to go all the way back to Unga Bunga and go, this animal in all other ways is superior to me, but I can change my behavior. The monster can't. That's your one advantage. Like, I tell people that and they're like, what? I'm like, the monster will always do the exact same shit. Every time you fight him, it's going to do the same stuff. But you have one ace up your sleeve. Hey, you see what I did there? The one ace up your sleeve is that you can change your behavior. You can learn. You can learn that, oh, the Rathian, every time she's going to do that flip kick that poisons me, she steps backwards. She doesn't take a step backwards any other time. That's the one time. And eventually you learn, this hoe is stepping backwards. I'm going to step to the left. Watch that tail just go right past my face, and I'm going to counter punish you. That wasn't getting good. That was learning how to get the hell out of her way so that she basically did it to herself. That's what these things are about. This is the energy, right? I can take a guy who's never played Monster Hunter. I played World for over 3,000 hours. I can teach him all those things that I learned in 10% of that time, right? We could skip all the other stuff, right? I can teach him to play as well as I do in 300 hours. But it took me 3,000 to get all that stuff sorted out. But now, there's a huge benefit. There's a huge benefit. Anytime someone sits down and they're the guy that comes out with the weapon, I know how to play that weapon. Or we get into a new fight and someone's really struggling. I'm watching this one guy cart. I can go, okay, what's going on over there? You can actually talk to me because Some other people only play one weapon or they play two weapons, and they're like, oh, no. I'm like, no, I play all the weapons. So I actually understand the terms that you're using and what you're referring to, what situations you're in. I can go, oh, hey, let me go get that same loadout so I can, take it into that same fight and see what you're experiencing, see what you're dealing with, and then we can workshop something and try and sort that out. I've done it multiple times over with brand new people to the franchise. To have that collective knowledge, that's the value. That's the value. So put in the hours, but for the love of God, do something with them, right? Don't put your thumb up your ass and then sit there and twiddle your thumbs. I don't even know how you would do that with one thumb in your ass, but it's got to be an awful thing. So hours spent can be experience, but it doesn't mean that it is. It's about It's all about what you did in that time, what you did, what you accomplished, what you achieved. Funny joke, and then I'll shut up. But I'm playing through Persona 3 Reload right now, still, like I talked about. And I'm doing a platinum trophy guide, like a platinum trophy run of it. I was like, no, I'm going to play this once. Like, I've already played Persona 3 enough times in my life, but to get the platinum trophy, okay. So I'll follow this walkthrough. It's supposed to take 60 to 70 hours. No, my clock is like 80 or 90 hours right now. And it's like, well, what's going on? It's, well, because I'm also showing it to someone who didn't even know what the fuck Persona was. No clue what Persona was, let alone Persona 3. So I'm spending the time, I'm looking at some of the little changes and the differences from the original. I'm more sightseeing touring it and just using that guide and going, okay, I have to accomplish these couple things today, and just kind of chilling, right? So it's, I'm way over time on what the guide says I should be doing. I'm not even close to halfway through the game, but there's a reason for it. It's because I'm going, nope, I'm just kind of savoring the flavor of these different aspects and focusing on the parts that I do care about, playing with intention, right? And not focusing on the things that I don't care about, right? So it's about the time and the value that you are putting into that time slot, right? Everyone gets the same 1 hour of their life. Everyone right now watching and listening to our show is spending the same amount of time as we are making it. But it's about what you did in that time, right? And if us sitting here, helping you, figure out the better ways to grab experience or to uh, uh, achieve more in a smaller time frame, if that actually helps you, then this wasn't a waste of our time. Then it was valuable time for us, valuable time for you, time well spent. That's the score.
All right.
Perfect.
Yes, Capcom announcer. Love it. My takeaway from all this, and actually that what you said resonated with me, and I would love to hear Ace's also, is that when I started playing the Lance, when I first picked it up, I was like, this thing is not doing any DPS. This thing sucks, right? Then I realized the Lance has a counter.
Oh
And I
yeah.
was like, yeah, and I was like, wait a minute, I'm playing this thing wrong. I'm playing this thing with the mentality of like dual blades. So let me think about where's my kit? Give me my kit, and this is how I'm gonna play Lance. So when I could have spent 40 hours playing Lance, right? But then as soon as I changed my mentality towards like this, no, this is how you really play it. You play it defensively, right? You counter the attacks, you respond, right? And then you time everything. It's more paced than it is like smashing, right? And I was like, now I'm having fun. This is actually makes sense, and this is why I like playing Lance, like, right? Because when I first started, I was just like, no, plays this thing, gross. I have 2 attacks, 3 animations. Yeah,
Ew.
yeah, exactly. And I was like, no, this is cool because when they hit me, I block and hit them back. I love that, you
Right,
know.
just that click pop, and you're like,
Yeah,
yep, sucker.
exactly. And the
You're
fact
like,
that,
oh.
like, if you're playing Lance and you never use that, you're only playing like 35% of them, right? Because there's more other stuff too that involves it. So I had to change my way of thinking, and this brought me back to I think what one of my mentors told me. James, are you living life to win? Are you living life not to lose? And I was like, wow, those are two different things. That's like what Oliver just said. It brought me back to that statement when my mentor said that. Are you living life, chat? Are you living life to win, or are you living life not to lose? Right? Two different mentalities. So
Did you get good or did you stop being bad?
there it is. I love that. Ace, what's your takeaway from that? What
Uh,
your Monster Hunter experience, I guess, since we're on the topic.
right. And
I gotta
honestly,
hear it.
again, Oliver mentioned, taking someone who was brand new to the series and teaching them, you know, putting them on that same trajectory as far as, how he was able to, you know, get that distance and really, start learning and truly experiencing Monster Hunter in a fraction of the time that he took to do it himself. Yeah. Hello, hello, new guy is me. I am the rookie. I mean, hell, it's my time with Monster Hunter that actually led to me, referring to myself as such, because it's like, it helped reinforce that mindset that I'm still, I'm still new to this game. I'm still new to this type of game. So as I'm going through and learning these different weapons, like for example, I started with the longsword. Why? Because my inner weeb just said, "Ooh, longsword, katana. Yeah, go do that shit." But as I started experimenting with other weapons, specifically when I moved over to the insect glaive, it was a lot of the same mentality where I was thinking, okay, how does the insect glaive move? How does it counter? And then the moment that it clicked was when I did that first vault and then started experimenting with the buttons while I'm airborne and I'm going, oh, hold on a second. And I like literally I'm over here like just craning my head to the side because I'm just adjusting to the view, adjusting to how my viewpoint is literally changing in real time as I'm picking up this weapon. And then I get to a point where, you know, like even in groups where I'm playing, I go, okay, listen, I know I can do this specific thing. While I can try and learn other weapons, let me go in here with this specific thing because there's going to be certain viewpoints that I can get, certain analyses I can make, not just of the battlefield, but of the monster itself. And I can bring that viewpoint to the rest of the team and go, okay, we've got drops here that we could use. The monster's going to move this way. There's these parts of the terrain where I can have the advantage because I'm using the insect glaive and I'm, making use of the tools. But what it all really comes down to is just, again, that experience of changing up my mindset on the fly. Instead of going in trying to do the most damage, period, I go in going, I know what I can do. So don't ask yourself if you can do everything. Just ask what you can do and how can you apply that to the current situation, because this this ain't the Kobayashi Maru. There are no win scenarios here, because if you go into it looking to learn the fight, then that knowledge that you come away with, that's your win. Even if it's just, oh man, I got torched. What happened? What do I need to do different? That's learning something.
And there's a very very strong mindset and mentality that has to come along with this. This learning mindset has to extend, like it's got to almost be like an area effect on everything else that you're doing. As far as Monster Hunter goes, I don't know how to play all the weapons because that was something that I set out to do. It came about as a consequence of, I want to win. What am I willing to do to win? And I'm willing to do what the guy next to me won't do. So I'm going to pick up this weapon because it feels like this weapon is really, really well suited for this fight. And the joke is, I hate Lance. I hate Gun Lance. Like, I just have never liked him. And lo and behold, between Monster Hunter World, Iceborne, and Wilds, when it came down to the last fights in the game, those were my go-tos. like with Gogmazios being the only Elder Dragon in Wilds, I just sat down and I looked and I was like, the gun lance is literally the best weapon you could possibly use on this guy, because he's got a split element problem. So he needs to be lit on fire so that his skin softens, and then you have to hit him with dragon. But I understand mechanically the unique mechanics of gun lance. And I was like even the game tells you they're like, hey, bring a fire weapon and bring a dragon element weapon. They specify this deeply multiple times, that bring these two things with you. We don't care what you bring. I was like, I don't need to do that at all, actually, because I know how gun lance works. And this part's just fun for people in the audience that don't know. In Monster Hunter, couple of the technical weapons have wildly different functionality than what you would think, and it's not clearly documented. But in Gunlance's case, no matter what element you have on that gun lance, it does not matter. All gun lances do fire damage. It's like, wait, what do you mean? So what if I have a thunder gun lance? If you have a thunder gun lance, all the cuts and the pokes and the stabs, that's thunder. Every shell, by default, does fire type damage, right? And it ignores all armor ratings. So as a consequence, even though these shells, they do fire damage and they ignore armor, they also can never be a critical hit. That's the trade-off, right? And of course, the wyvern fire that comes off gun lance, it's fire. It's in the name. So when you get in there and you're fighting Gogmazios, you're really mixing up with them. Yeah, you're chopping. They're like, oh, that's not working. But then I go, and here's a full burst, and I fire all 6 rounds out of my gun lance at once, and then I prime up a wyvern's fire. Boom, he's softened, and now my normal swings are just getting in there and devastating him. And of course, when you get to the last part of this fight, it turns into a big, Nova attack, and there's only like a couple of places you can hide, or someone with adequate guard can literally block for the entire team. So I'm like, I have one weapon that I can do fire and dragon with it, and I get to save everyone else's life. Why the fuck would I why would I not use that weapon? This is the most practical weapon to use for this fight. It ensures that the softness happens, the damage checks get met and all that. Not what I wanted to play, but it's the most effective thing to do to ensure the win. I care more about winning than doing it my way, so to speak, right? And the same thing happened to me in World. Like, that's where I started learning gun lance in the first place, and I found out that gun lance is actually the most powerful weapon in Monster Hunter World by a country mile. It's disturbing. Like, you can kill a Latrian in, I think the fastest time I've seen is 2 minutes. I'm like, oh, okay, so you are just... Yes. I watched the homies do it, because it's all about the worm stakes. Like how the worm stakes and how the calculations work, and with it impacting with things. So I'm deadly serious. It involves barrel bombs and snowmen. And when you take a stake, when you do the worm stake cannon, and it sticks in a monster, it hits 15 times, right? Just by default. So it goes tick, 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 and then it explodes. Well, people figured out that if you're using Kushala's gun lance, or even the skin, the way that the stake comes out, and if barrels and snowmen are placed at the exact same spot, the only thing the stake cares about is how many objects it collided with. And it calculates that all together. So what it means is you can take one stake, put a monster to sleep, lay down your bombs, have the whole crew do it, right? So you can put down 2 bombs. right? So there's 8 bombs, and then everyone can put down snowmen, right? So next thing you know, well, no, it turns into this huge multiplier. Instead of, oh, you just did 1,400 damage to the monster, no, you're doing like a couple of 100,000 all at once because of the way that it calculates it. It's not a fixable thing. So if you do it
These
right,
fucking deviants.
I've watched them kill Fatalis this way. I was like, this is the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life. Show me more. It's nuts. It's a wild thing
Absolute
to see.
reprobate behavior.
Right, like some real. It's like, you know what? You just missed the whole point of the game, but I still want to know how you did it. But looking at that and going, because I had to see, I was like, I don't understand how this is working mechanically. It's like, I was like, it's like reading a big ass equation sheet, and I'm just like, what the fuck are they talking about? So I had to go see it, and that's how I ended up learning Gunlance, was through going, why does this work? And actually, going in and working on the training dummy, I was like, oh, that's really interesting. And then I started picking up more things. I was like, I wonder how I would perform against Elatrian, knowing what I know with Gunlance now. And my time started going down. I was like, I did not anticipate this at all with such slow swings, but I realized the damage was actually really, really good. And I was able to keep sticking him with worm stakes in general. And I was like, wait a minute, these are easier to do than super amps. I do more damage. And it all kind of just ended up there. Right? And the same thing, literally in Wilds, went straight into the beta with a Gunlance. Like, there were 2 weapons that I did not know anything about in Monster Hunter World. I didn't know a single thing about Charge Blade. I tried it in Monster Hunter 4, and I was so just like, I was dissuaded in the very way that we're talking about, where I was just like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm stupid, blah, blah, blah. Right? But then I had someone who's played Monster Hunter less, but knew more about Charge Blade than I did on stream. I'm not even sure if you remember that, Ace. They walked me through learning Charge Blade. I'm like, I don't understand the loops and all that. And I spent 3,000 hours learning Charge Blade.
Yep.
The whole playthrough, like the last 100, 150 hours are me learning Gunlance. And I still don't think I'm good with Charge Blade. And I do horrible fucking things to Monster with Charge Blade. Don't get it twisted. It's a crime, right? That we're talking. There's most wanted posters for my ass up in the woods. They go and, have you seen this man? Like,
Extremely dangerous.
But it is the secret sauce. I don't feel that I'm good, but I'm good enough to teach, right? Clearly, like with Ace, it's like, no, here's how this weapon works. Here's why you do this, and I learned stuff from them, right? Just because I've been playing longer than everybody else in the group, it doesn't mean that I can't learn new things. If you think that no one can teach you shit, you are definitely going to plateau. That's why I don't play Guilty Gear with Ace anymore. Because I keep trying to do fucking shit with Soul Bad Guy. If I go up in the air, he's taking me all the way, right? He's like, no, I'm going to help you keep doing what you were doing. I'm going to keep getting my back broken. So I had to learn brand new things to counter specifically him. I was like, oh, this guy, he's going to sit here and he's going to use Potemkin. Potemkin ain't shit, boy. I found out how wrong I was. I found out, and the whole world watched it happen. He just kept grabbing me up. I'm like, I got to keep my ass out of the air. That's his one move, and he's really good at it. I don't want this in my life. And he's like, oh, got you again. Oh. But then it got interesting because I learned, because I took that time and I learned, our fights got really tense. People on stream would be like, on the edge of their seat watching us scrap. We would start getting real close to running out of time, because then it turned into a cat and mouse fight, right? It's who's tapping who's going to slip, right? How can I slip around behind him? Things like that. That's the real secret. If we all learn from each other, we all grow together. I learned how to be better at playing Soul Bad Guy in Guilty Gear because Ace was better at air control than I was. Dead stop. That's just the fact. So he taught me how to keep my black ass on the ground. And don't do it.
And it was your ground game that actually forced me to not only improve, but remember Potemkin's ground game to begin with.
No, you mean that ground game of
Exactly.
you don't stop. Hit me with that shit. I'm like, stop it, right? Oh no. But yeah, that's the kind of thing. It changed up because it's like, wait a minute, I'm on someone fighting someone who's on equal footing with me. Everything changed, and so that's the real secret of growth. That's why we do this. That's where the gaming quotient comes from. That's where it comes from. Learning from others, playing and learning, and being open to learning and playing. And I'm just gonna say something corny. I'm gonna use some Marvel here. If we're gonna lose, if we're gonna win, we're gonna win together. If we're gonna lose, we're gonna do that together too. Because then that makes that victory that much better.
Yep.
When Omega Planetes dropped in Monster Hunter Wilds, man, that was the Latrian for 2 weeks. Watching people lose their minds on Twitter, I was like, all we have to do is just go and put this guy in the ground, and we're in the top, 95% of people. We're already a cut above everyone else if we just make it. Just follow directions. The game has given us specific instructions. All we got to do is paint by numbers. Can we follow directions? Yes. Okay, let's go do it. Oh, we failed. Okay, let's look at why we failed. Let's think about our loadouts. You know what? This motherfucker keeps lighting us on fire. Does everybody have fire resistance stacked up? Like, okay. Who's healing? Who's gonna drop the rocks? Who's tanking? Who is purely breaking, breaking weak points, busting open limbs? Oh no, here's this attack. How do we recover from it? I mean, God, Ace remembers when we all collectively forgot that we could just call the bird when we're knocked down to come save our ass. It's like, oh yeah, if I'm knocked on your ass, I don't have to keep getting shot with the same missile over and over. Bird can get me out of that situation. No, totally. Just going through that stuff. This is the actual essence of the quotient. Taking what you learned and then sharing that information. And if the person receiving that information is able to achieve the same thing in a shorter period of time, and then they can do the same for someone else, well, guess what? Ta-da! Now we have growth. Now we have advancement. Welcome to the human race. That's it. Humanity is an iterative process. Even when we're playing, even when we're just having fun, growing is happening. You just have to be receptive to it.
Chat, name any other gaming related show podcast that's this educational to your life with, well, at the same time having fun. I can't
I'll
think
wait.
of any. I think
There ain't one.
it's right in
It
front of you.
doesn't exist.
It's right in front of you. Yeah, feel free, chat. Feel free to take this image, share it, tell your friends, if it can enrich their life and how they play the game and how they see the game. It's gonna be fantastic. Yeah, please share the show if you can. Tell your friends all about us because this show is
Excellent.
damn right, Shao Kahn. Appreciate you.
And of course, something that we're going to do because it's plainly obvious. I mean, clearly, we need this as a nice poster to go over your game playing area because it's always good to have reminders of why you're playing.
Back.
Absolutely.
Going on, man.
He's going on the damn list.
Go on the vision board. Go on the vision board.
Of course, we're going to have a poster because it's beautifully designed, right? And I will make sure that the quality is tippity top notch.
There you go. What's the page that you do with all your artwork? You pop it in the
Page that I
chat.
do with the page that I do with my digital art is the digital new sphere .online. And in fact, today I just put up some work from Chrono Trigger. I did one of I have a poster up of Shala and Janice from 12,000 BC. I've actually done a phone case of the ending of Chrono Trigger. Just too far away times with Chrono and Marl holding the balloons and floating away. I actually have quite a few video game released or based works. I've got Madman's Knowledge from Bloodborne up there. I even have a shirt up that just says Nightmare Slain from
Oh,
Bloodborne. And of course, I absolutely have a Demon Souls shirt that says the demon was destroyed. Right across there in the font. They're all top tier, extraordinarily high quality stuff. I mean, come on, we're wearing it right on our heads, but no, it's all up there. It's easy to get your hands on. Ships relatively fast, and you won't be disappointed. You won't
yes,
be
sir.
disappointed at all. And of course, I do take requests. So people are like, oh, I would totally get something. No, I can make that happen. Right.
Oh,
So when
you
I
don't know
say we're
who
gonna have
asked.
this poster, when we're gonna have this poster, I'm saying it's going to happen. Don't worry, you're gonna have it because we want
Stay
you
tuned.
and the reminder right there in front of your face. Am I playing intentionally? When you get mad, you get frustrated, you can look up at that poster. Am I playing intentionally? And if you find that you're not, take a step back, take 5 minutes, take a breather, and get yourself back into that intentional place so that you can go back to enjoying what you're actually playing.
Grab yourself a snack and come right back.
Yep.
And
Well
then we can all get mad that they haven't done a remaster of Mad Max.
We can all get mad that there are still no fist weapons in Monster Hunter outside of you.
Right, we can be angry about tangible things and not.
we all have ours. We all have our own. We're basically here.
We can be mad about things that actually matter here.
All right. All right. Any last takeaway, guys, before we close it out for tonight?
Again, it's not about the value of the number of hours you spend. It's about the value you get out of those hours.
Absolutely.
Well done. Oliver, any last tidbits for the crowd?
With that time and getting good. In short, over 40 years of nonstop gaming. Don't waste your time on a game you're not enjoying. Even if it's a game that I hold in extremely high regard and say, oh, this is one of the best things I've ever played. No, absolutely not. Don't waste your time on a game you're not enjoying. Now, if you feel like you could enjoy it, but you got to work through some kinks, hey, absolutely stick with it. But if you know this is not the fit, I'm not the one for this, I don't think I'll ever be, no, I highly encourage you to stop playing, right? Trade the game in or give it to someone else who you think might enjoy it or do whatever, right? But wasting your time, your precious time on a thing that should be fun, well, that's just not a good move, right? And don't get angry at people who are enjoying those kinds of things. So we see this a lot with Souls games, right? Well, they're like, why are they so hard? How come they don't have a difficulty level? Well, it's literally designed to be a difficult game. I encourage you to not play that game. They're like, this is so stressful, it stressed me out. Well, it's not supposed to be that kind of stress. I'm like, yeah, I mean, thinking and engaging and timing, yes, those things are a type of stress, but some of us enjoy that kind of difficulty. That's why we're playing it. We do want that difficult kind of challenge. We do want to have to be locked into those animations in Monster Hunter, right? That's what makes those victories so good. How much do I know myself and how much do I know this monster, right? But if you sit down and you're playing Monster Hunter, you're like, oh, I'm finally going to play Monster Hunter because everybody else is playing Monster Hunter, and you don't like Monster Hunter, fuck it. Stop playing Monster Hunter. Go play something else. I'm going to be more proud of you for setting down this and being able to say, I'm just not enjoying it. I will find something else to do that I will enjoy. It takes a lot of self-awareness. Instead of just trying to bull rush your way through it or pretending that you like something that you don't. No, that real honesty. I don't like this pen. I will go get a different pen. That's the thing that takes courage. Yeah. Regardless of what everyone else is saying around you. Oh, this is the greatest thing of all time. That's why I can go, no, I don't like Elden Ring. I did not enjoy Elden Ring. I will not be playing Elden Ring again. There's an expansion. I don't care. I sat through it so my stream could see it. But for me, nah, I'm good. It's just not for me. I appreciated so many things about it. I think there was a lot of things that were done well, but the overall package, no, I'm not a fan. And I'm not ashamed to say it. There are plenty of people out there who love it, and they are completely within their rights to love it. I'm glad they love it. They're like, I played this shit for 1,000 hours. Well, god damn, you got your money's worth, didn't you? Like, oh, 1,000 hours at $70? Oh no, no, you can't beat that value proposition right there. No, of course, do it again, right? I'm like, oh shit, do a different build. Tell me how it works. Like, I want to know, but I can go, but overall, the experience isn't for me. And you should be able to say that too. We love games on this panel, on this show, that I know that people in our audience don't like. And we're not saying that you have to play what we like or you're not welcome. No, not at all. People who are thinking about their gaming quotient are the people that we care about.
Well done. There we go. All right. Well, that's going to wrap up class session number 65 of the Gaming Academy. Man, that's a lot of episodes there. Tonight we talked about mastery and how it's not measured in hours played, but in understanding earned. I think we covered that a lot tonight. And that's what really Gamer Quotient is all about. We created Gamer Quotient to challenge the idea that gaming is not a waste of time, because if anyone who's truly engaged with games knows the games teach us something. They teach resilience, they teach patience, teach strategy, teach growth, and many more. Depends on the lessons you're looking for. Leveling up, grinding, failing and retrying, learning systems, managing resources. Those aren't just mechanics, guys. They're life skills in disguise, whether you like it or not. At Gamer Quotient, we don't measure how much you play. We look at how you play with intention, with awareness, with respect for your time and the craft behind the games. That is your GQ. And every class here at the Academy is about raising it, not by playing more, but by understanding more. So if tonight's lesson gave you something to think about, share it. Bring it to Discord. Keep the conversation going. Tell your friends, tell your family. But until next class, ask yourself this: what's your GQ? And with that said, class dismissed. Thanks, guys.
Mission complete.